Chapter 4006. That's right. Ao Xing slightly nodded his head. His shrunken figure gradually enlarged as he replied, "The Forgotten Realm of Stacked Jade will open in a few days. All the dragons who have the qualifications to enter the Forgotten Realm must wait for orders in front of the Forgotten Realm." Xiaohua looked at Ao Xing's restored dragon body and said with a smile, "Why don't you directly transform into human form? Wouldn't it be more convenient when you are with Lu Yi and the rest?" Transform into human form? Ao Xing flew up indifferently. While swinging his dragon tail, he replied, "I would like to, but I have no way to transform." Xiaohua asked curiously, "How is that possible? I remember that demon beasts can transform into human form when they cultivate to a certain extent. Why can't you?" Ao Xing unhappily swept a glance at Xiaohua. It seems like if Xiaohua was not Lu Yi's master, he would have turned hostile at this moment. "Xiaohua, if I ask you to transform into a pig, can you do it?" "Of course I can, but I might not do it." Xiaohua already understood something. He followed Ao Xing out of the palace and dived into the sea as he replied indifferently, "You are right." Ao Xing said proudly, "My dragon race is incomparably noble. How can I transform into human form? Furthermore, with my bloodline, a human's body is simply unable to contain it. Even transforming into human form is impossible. As for the demon beasts you mentioned, they are beasts in the first place. Transforming from low to high rank might work." "Then when I saw Xiao Yun that day, she had the appearance of a human?" Xiaohua asked doubtfully. "Xiao Yun is a descendant of the Ho race. He was cursed by my dragon island. She can transform into human form for a short period of time," Ao Xing said, "and during this period of time Xiao Yun cannot use dragon force. She cannot borrow dragon blood divine ability. It can be said that she does not have the strength to truss a chicken." "So that's how it is." Xiaohua finally understood something. No wonder he couldn't see through Xiao Yun's true form that day. After flying out of the palace, Ao Xing flew towards the dragon island with great familiarity. He flew past layer upon layer of mountain ridges, flew past layer upon layer of palaces, and finally arrived in front of a strange huge rock that is at least 10,000 zhang in size. At this moment, the giant rock was already surrounded by some dragon generals and dragon soldiers of Dragon Island. Around the giant rock, there were more than 5,000 dragon clan, demon clan and human clan. They stood in different places, either sitting or standing. However, everyone's gaze fell on the giant rock. At this moment the boulder was shaking slightly, but there were no fluctuations or vibrations. It was purely a change in shape, just like what a person would see when they were dizzy. "Our position is over there." Ao Xing didn't even look at those humans and demons, and directly flew to the dragons in front of the huge rock. Xiaohua glanced down, but before he could distinguish which one was Ao Moyun, two dragon generals flew over, blocked Xiaohua and asked, "Fellow immortal, where's your true dragon card?" "How dare you?" Ao Xing said unhappily. "Can't you see that it's me who brought them here?" "Little elder," the two dragon generals said very respectfully. This general saw that he's a human brought here by little elder. However, elder has ordered that in order to prevent other dragon clan from causing trouble, everyone who wants to participate in the trial of the Stacked Jade Legacy Realm, regardless of dragon clan, demon clan or human clan, must check the true dragon card. Of course, little elder, the dragon selection that elder personally appointed to enter the Stacked Jade Legacy Realm, is not included. "Hehe, Xiaohua, since it's elder's order, you better take out the true dragon card. You also have one, don't you?" Ao Xing, who was flattered, didn't get angry and said to Xiaohua with a smile. When Xiaohua took out the true dragon card, the two dragon generals' faces immediately showed astonishment, because this true dragon card indicated Xiaohua's position, and also indicated Xiaohua's current identity on Dragon Island. "Please." The two dragon generals returned the true dragon card to Xiaohua, and respectfully stepped aside, allowing Xiaohua to follow Ao Xing to fly to the front of the giant rock. "Who is this human? Could it be that his dragon chi is of a higher level than ours?" An aqua-blue dragon asked in astonishment. Although his voice was low, it was heard clearly by Xiaohua. "You don't even know this?" The other fiery red dragon mocked. "He's the human cultivator with the highest level of dragon chi during the Dragon Chi Realm selection. I heard that his dragon chi is of a higher level than little elder." "How is that possible?" The other dragon was even more astonished. All the dragons in my dragon clan don't have the noble dragon chi and bloodline of Little Elder. How can this human have it? You heard the human's nonsense, right? I don't know. Anyway, we didn't participate in the Dragon Chi realm's selection. The fiery red dragon answered. However, I also heard that after the Dragon Chi realm selection, more than 1,000 humans and demons entered the Star Brilliance Palace Hall, and in the end, only this human cultivator didn't come out. Also, didn't you see? This human followed behind Little Elder, so these rumors shouldn't be wrong. Damn it, what kind of world is this? A human's dragon chi is actually more noble than a dragon's. When the dragons heard this, they couldn't understand, but their gazes were also somewhat strange. Although Xiaohua heard these words, he didn't think too much about it, and also didn't understand the strange meaning in their gazes. At this moment he was looking at the huge oddly shaped stone and inwardly pondered, this must be the entrance to the stacked Jade Legacy realm. According to the True Dragon Tablet's explanation, this stacked Jade Legacy realm is a fragment of the Upper Realm's dragon domain that fell on Dragon Island, and everything inside originally belonged to the dragon domain. Precisely because of this, if the dragon's bloodline can't reach a certain degree of purity, it can't resist the dragon chi within the dragon domain, and it can't even enter. The stacked Jade Legacy realm is similar to the Legacy realm, it's a self-contained realm. However, the difference is that when the stacked Jade Legacy realm opens because it communicates with Dragon Island's heaven and earth origin chi, the time inside is the same as Dragon Island. And when the stacked Jade Legacy realm closes, the time rule of the dragon domain is restored. Seems like the time in the dragon domain is a lot faster than the time in Dragon Island. None of the dragons who are trapped in the stacked Jade Legacy realm can survive until the next time it opens. This is also the reason why Dragon Island wrote the first rule on the True Dragon Tablet. Once you receive the news of the stacked Jade Legacy realm closing, you must leave the Legacy realm in time. In addition, although the True Dragon Tablet recorded some of the circumstances when Dragon Island entered the stacked Jade Legacy realm, it also clearly stated that the Legacy realm is a fragment of the dragon domain. The time rule inside is different from Dragon Island. Everything that has already happened will change, the previous records might not be useful. Even the path to enter, the location and so on will also change. The recorded path will also become nothingness. In other words, the location of the dragon cleansing pool this Xiao is looking for might not be the same as the location last time. Actually, the most important thing is, what is the purpose of Dragon Island's stacked Jade Legacy realm this time? The Great Elder and the others keep saying that it is for Dragon Island's prosperity, but is Dragon Island's prosperity entrusted to this small stacked Jade Legacy realm? Unfortunately, this Xiao's True Dragon Tablet only recorded the location of the dragon cleansing pool. This location is actually useless. Other than this, there is also the mission to obtain the complete Longyu. There is no mention of anything else. And Ao Xing or the other dragon's True Dragon Tablets this Xiao cannot see. Who knows what they are going to do when they enter. However, what does what they do have to do with this Xiao? This Xiao only needs to find the dragon cleansing pool, find the Longyu and quickly come out of the stacked Jade Legacy realm. Just as he was thinking, a very familiar voice suddenly rang out, Taoist Master Xiao? Xiaohua was slightly startled. He hurriedly stood in midair, looked up, and saw a dragon general wearing armor standing on the ground, looking at Xiaohua with the same astonishment. Ao Zhan? You also came to participate in the stacked Jade Legacy realm? Xiaohua recognized him at a glance. Isn't this the dragon guard Ao Zhan of the East Sea Dragon Palace that I met in the Legacy realm? Ah, if Taoist Master Xiao can go to Dragon Island, why can't this Ao come to the stacked Jade Legacy realm to train? Ao Zhan laughed heartily, emphasizing the two words, Dragon Island. Xiaohua nodded and said, Fellow immortal Ao is right. This Xiao has always wanted to find an opportunity to come to Dragon Island. Previously, I wanted to go to the East Sea Dragon Palace to find you, but I didn't expect that there would be an opportunity to appear in front of this Xiao. So this Xiao came to participate in the training. Speaking up to here, Xiaohua looked at Ao Zhan's side and asked, How is Ao Qian? Why didn't he come? Thank you for your concern, fellow immortal. Ao Zhan said with a smile. Thanks to fellow immortal's help, I was able to bring Ao Qian back to the East Sea Dragon Palace safely. Ao Qian has already completely recovered. However, Ao Qian is the grandnephew of the East Sea Dragon Palace. His bloodline is not pure. so he does not have the qualifications to participate in the Stacked Jade Legacy Realms training. Haha, then this Xiao wishes fellow immortal success in advance, and smoothly complete the training. Xiaohua smiled and cupped his hands. Bao Zhan asked curiously, fellow immortal, could it be that you are that human cultivator whose dragon chi and dragon bloodline are even more noble than the little elder of Dragon Island in the rumors these days? Yes, I don't even know why. However, I think that even if you are fellow immortal, your current bloodline might not be inferior to Ao Xing's, right? Xiaohua looked at Ao Zhan with a smile. In his heart he knew better than all of the dragons that Ao Zhan obtained the true dragon bloodline of the Legacy Realm. At this time his bloodline must be abnormally pure. Otherwise, with his identity as a dragon guard, it would be impossible for him to come to Dragon Island and enter the Stacked Jade Legacy Realm to train. Ao Zhan shook his head slightly. How can this one be compared to the little elder? He is the dragon candidate of the next generation of elders. Now that fellow immortal is on good terms with him, in the future the matters of Dragon Island will no longer have any trouble. Xiaohua looked at Ao Xing, who flew in front of the huge rock complacently, and asked Ao Zhan with a bitter smile, do you think this Xiao can really be on good terms with this little elder of Dragon Island? This one doesn't know. Ao Zhan laughed and cupped his hands. This one will take his leave first. After entering the Legacy Realm in a while, if there is a chance, this one hopes to join hands with fellow immortal. Join hands? Xiaohua smiled mysteriously and asked, what do you want to do if we join hands? Ao Zhan shrugged his shoulders, looking even stranger than Xiaohua. I don't know either, maybe I will know after entering the Stacked Jade Legacy Realm. Chapter 4007. Seeing that Ao Zhan was also speaking in riddles with him, Xiaohua was helpless. He cupped his hands and watched Ao Zhan return to the East Sea Dragon clan. Then Xiaohua's heart moved. Although his figure was flying forward, the corner of his eyes was paying attention to the other dragons. After all, he had offended the second prince of the North Sea Dragon Palace. Who knew if Ao Jing was among the dragons participating in the North Sea Dragon Palace's experiential learning? Fortunately, although Xiaohua couldn't tell which was the North Sea Dragon Palace and which was the West Sea Dragon Palace, after a rough look, there wasn't anything that made him feel uncomfortable. Xiaohua, come here quickly. When Xiaohua was looking, Ao Xing's voice came into his ears. The Stacked Jade Legacy Realm seems to be opening. Right. Xiaohua didn't dare to be negligent and hurriedly sped up. Before he could get close to the huge rock, an indescribable feeling came from the huge rock. It was like a magic treasure that was about to explode. Inside, there were thousands of strands of aura that could kill Xiaohua at any time, uncontrollably spread out in the water. Hiss. Xiaohua's figure couldn't help but slow down. The brilliance around his body flashed as he wanted to resist. However, the more he urged his true essence, the more intense the killing intent became. Xiaohua even felt that the huge rock was shaking even more violently, as if it was preparing to strike down from the sky. However, when waves of dragon chi rushed over from the left, Xiaohua immediately understood. He hurriedly dispersed his true essence and slightly activated his dragon vein. Woo! It was as if a whirlwind had blown out from Xiaohua's meridians. The killing intent from before had immediately faded by a lot, and even the shaking of the huge rock seemed to have weakened by a lot. It seems that in this Stacked Jade Legacy Realm, this Xiao's Taoist magic Confucian cultivation and so on will have to be restrained. Xiaohua's figure landed beside Ao Xing and thought to himself, since this Stacked Jade Legacy Realm is a fragment of the dragon domain, then the dragon aura inside must be rich. It must also reject other cultivation paths. The great elder of the Dragon Palace is right. However, when Xiaohua's figure just stabilized, the shaking of the huge rock suddenly stopped. The killing intent of the dragon aura was withdrawn into the huge rock, and everything returned to normal. Damn it, I still have to wait. Ao Xing screamed in frustration. His dragon body lay on the ground in an unsightly manner. His head drooped lazily as if all the dragon bones in his body had been removed. Xiaohua said with a smile, not a single one of the dragon race's 9 elders came. This stacking Emerald Legacy Realm naturally won't open. That's true. Ao Xing agreed with Xiaohua and muttered, the elders didn't come, so why did they drag us here first? Taking advantage of this time, I can throw a few dice at Brother Lu. Yeah, I think so too. Xiaohua squinted his eyes and looked at Boulder, who was as quiet as a handsome man, and said with a smile, "It would be best if I could win that water-repelling pearl from your palace." You think I can't win? Ao Xingli squinted at Xiaohua and said with a smile, "I can win by using any divine sense. I'm just good at dragon grade. I don't want to cheat." "That's a good dragon," Xiaohua said perfunctorily. He sat cross-legged beside Ao Xing and began to meditate. Ao Xing looked at Xiaohua and sat on the ground for a moment. He looked very bored. His pair of dragon eyes looked around. Suddenly, 2 dice appeared on his dragon claws. Unfortunately, the palace in front of Boulder was full of seawater. How could the dice be thrown out in the seawater? After throwing a few times, Ao Xing simply urged his dragon chi to expel the seawater around the dragon claws. Then he concentrated on throwing the dice on the ground. After an unknown period of time, Xiaohua, who was meditating, suddenly felt a gust of wind in front of him. The crystal-like seawater seemed to not exist. His figure was blown away. At this moment, roar. A loud and clear dragon roar came from afar. The figure of Dragon Island's 4th elder was like a mountain ridge as he streaked across the seawater. Then he transformed into a human dragon that was dozens of feet in size and stood on Boulder. That boulder was like an erupting volcano. The dragon chi scraped 4th elder's scales until they creaked. The brilliance on his dragon body was also like a swaying flag. It was extremely long. "Dragon's son," 4th elder said, "you are all the elites of my dragon tribe. Today the opening of the Stacking Jade Legacy Realm is the opportunity for you to show your skills. Go, the hope of my dragon tribe is in your hands. I hope you can return with a full load and live up to the expectations of my dragon palace's elders." Roar. All the dragons stretched their necks and roared. The roar of the dragons shook the seawater as if it was boiling. Gotcha. Along with the roar of the dragons, the boulder shook violently. Tens of thousands of purple crystal threads were produced from the seawater in the vicinity of Wenzhong. These crystal threads fell into the boulder at the same time. With a boom sound, the boulder disintegrated, revealing a fist-sized gold-colored crystal at its core. This gold-colored crystal looked like a water droplet, but there was a clear fracture mark on its tip. The surface of the water droplet was not a smooth arc. Instead, it was pieced together by many small flat surfaces that looked like dragon scales. Every flat surface was emitting an extremely brilliant gold-colored light. Every light ray was distorted as if many tiny dragons were pouncing into the water. Moreover, under the surface of the light ray, along with the overflow of the light ray, one after another strange image was produced from time to time. It was as if there was a world inside this crystal. Oh. Xiaohua was a little shocked. The True Dragon Tablet recorded all kinds of experiences in the Stacking Jade Legacy Realm. It also wrote the method to enter the Stacking Jade Legacy Realm. However, it didn't explain what the Stacking Jade Legacy Realm was. Xiaohua previously thought that this boulder was the entrance to the Stacking Jade Legacy Realm. However, he didn't expect that the crystal in the middle of the boulder was the entrance. However, when his gaze fell on the crystal, his heart was moved again. He inwardly pondered, could it be, this crystal is the Stacking Jade Legacy Realm? However, he saw the crystal floating in the water, not moving in the slightest. Only the golden light and the pattern overflowed in the seawater. This golden light illuminated the figures of all the dragons, monsters, and humans. That pattern also fell into their eyes. However, the strange thing was that when Xiaohua tried to recall, he didn't have any memory of the pattern he saw before. It was as if he didn't see it at all. "You can go in now." The 4th elder's voice drifted in the seawater. A group of dragons, monsters, as well as Xiaohua and the other humans, threw out their true dragon tablets. Then they urged their dragon chi to fall on it. Those leaves fell into the crystal like fallen leaves returning to their roots. Buzz. The golden light on the surface of the crystal was like a bubble in the seawater. It expanded at an extremely fast speed. That biting cold dragon chi was sharper than a flying sword and pierced into Xiaohua's body. See. Xiaohua's body had long been tempered thousands of times. It was tougher than ordinary magic tools. However, at this time the golden light entering his body actually caused him to feel severe pain. Xiaohua groaned in a low voice and hurriedly urged the dragon transformation art. The dragon vein left his body and covered Xiaohua's body. Sure enough, when the golden light fell into the dragon chi, it immediately began to melt. That sharp pain was greatly reduced. Seeing that the leaked dragon chi was so powerful even before entering the forgotten realm of stacked jade, Xiaohua already understood why only dragons and descendants of dragons with pure bloodline and sufficient dragon chi could enter. Presumably, this forgotten realm was filled with such tyrannical dragon chi. If dragons with thin bloodline entered the forgotten realm of stacked jade, they would be instantly killed by this dragon chi. Roar. Waves of dragon roars that were louder than the previous dragon roars emitted by the group of dragons came from the crystal. Then golden crystal threads flew out and fell on Xiaohua, Ao Xing, and the other humans and dragons who took out their true dragon tablets and spouted dragon chi. Xiaohua felt an irresistible force coming from the crystal threads. All of a sudden his body was shackled. Along with the crystal threads, his body rapidly shrank and was thrown into the crystal. In Xiaohua's vision, the surface that was smaller than a fingernail became bigger and bigger. In the end, it was like the surface of a lake blocking in front of him. Moreover, the surface slightly rippled just like the surface of a lake. Boom. The crystal threads fell into the surface. Xiaohua's body crashed into it like a stone. Gotcha. The surface cracked and a substantial dragon chi rushed out and fell into Xiaohua's dragon vein dharma body. Woo. The dragon vein dharma body issued a hissing sound and rapidly expanded. Boom. With a loud sound, Xiaohua's body and the dragon vein dharma body were completely submerged into the crystal. At the same time that Xiaohua entered the forgotten realm of stacked jade, Ao Xing and the other dragons also crashed into the crystal. Endless rumbling sound exploded near the crystal. However, in the ears of the fourth elder, who was less than 1,000 feet away from the crystal, this kind of violent explosion sound was so soft. It was like a silkworm breaking out of its cocoon. The fourth elder's body was also illuminated by the golden light. The surface of his dragon body was slightly distorted. His eyes were slightly narrowed. His expression was rather complicated as he watched the crystal threads bring in the dragons one by one. It was normal for several thousand dragons to enter the forgotten realm of stacked jade. However, when several hundred demons and humans entered after them, there was an abnormality. A series of miserable screams came from the crystal. Those dragon blood descendants whose bloodline was not pure enough and whose dragon aura was not abundant enough had just touched the surface of the crystal. When the dragon aura fell into their dragon blood dharma body, their dharma body immediately burst. Moreover, this dragon aura was like the autumn wind sweeping away the fallen leaves as it rushed into the bloodline of these descendants. Regardless of whether they were of the 5th grade or the 7th grade, their bloodline was destroyed and then their flesh burst. Clusters of blood mist turned into blood-colored flowers, which looked exceptionally beautiful in the golden light. After a full half cup of tea's time, the crystal regained its calm. Those who had entered had already entered, and those who had not, did not even leave behind their corpses. The entire crystal's golden light gradually dimmed and converged, as if nothing had ever happened. When the crystal began to flow, all the images began to rotate. Strands of needle-like golden light shot out from the crystal. When the golden light fell into the sea, it immediately turned into a huge amount of dragon aura and filled the surroundings. There were even many small whirlpools that were born in the sea like Xiaohua's buds. They floated into the distance. Chapter 4008. The fourth elder of the Dragon Palace stood in the seawater and quietly watched this strange phenomenon. He pondered inwardly. The stacked jade legacy realm is admittedly a fragment of the dragon domain. There is another universe within it. However, the dragon island is not the dragon domain after all. This stacked jade legacy realm will eventually disappear one day. If we don't hurry up and find that thing, how can we establish a connection with the dragon domain? Wouldn't the sacrifice of the 3 dragon sages be in vain? After watching for a moment, the fourth elder of the dragon island shouted loudly, "Protect the stacked jade legacy realm well. If there is any abnormality, immediately report to the dragon palace." Yes. The dragon soldiers guarding at a distant place complied and flew over. However, they didn't firmly protect the golden crystal. Instead, they protected the crystal and the scattered gravel near the crystal. The gravel that exploded earlier now seemed to have a life of its own. They turned into water droplets little by little, then moved towards the crystal floating in the water. Although these dragon soldiers and dragon generals were on alert, Each and every one of them had a joyful expression on their face. After all, this pure dragon chi came from the stacked jade legacy realm. It was several times denser than the Dragon Island. Even if they didn't cultivate, their strength would still increase rapidly. As for Xiaohua, when his figure crashed into the crystal, a feeling as if a mountain was pressing down on his body came from his dragon vein Dharma body. It was as if his entire body was 100 times heavier than before. Boom. Without any noise, Xiaohua's figure fell down like a meteorite. The dragon chi that killed the humans earlier immediately rushed into the dragon vein Dharma body frantically. Roar. Dragon vein Xiaohua didn't say anything all along. At this moment he let out a long roar and operated the dragon transformation secret art frantically. The seemingly corporeal dragon chi formed one after another tiny whirlpool and rushed into the dragon vein Dharma body. The dragon vein Dharma body actually gradually became plump. Damn it! Xiaohua sensed the joy of the dragon vein Dharma body and cursed inwardly. This stacked jade legacy realm is just like a Dao sex paradise. The dragon chi inside is very suitable for the dragon race to cultivate. No wonder the descendants of the dragon race are crying and shouting to come in. Looking at this situation, even if they don't get anything in this legacy realm, just the dragon chi absorbed here is enough for them. However, fellow dragon vein Dharma body, can we fly first? Oh no. Xiaohua wanted to urge his avatar to stop the falling momentum, but he saw a huge mountain range, a huge tree, and a boulder several thousand feet in size. Then, there was no more. Boom. Xiaohua landed on a boulder. However, this boulder didn't shatter under his attack. It only split into two halves with a cracking sound. Looking at the huge rock, a golden crystal also fell to the ground. Fellow Taoist. Xiaohua crawled up from the ground with difficulty, rubbed his butt and complained, I don't have any objections to you eating and drinking dragon energy, but can't you fly first? Don't you know that landing posture is very ugly? Dragon vein Xiaohua spoke with excitement. This is a fragment of the dragon realm? Was it a corner of the dragon field? I feel that this place is really great. It is much better than the hidden immortal continent and even the dragon island. Xiaohua replied snappily, that's for you. Compared to me, this is the celestial world. How can it not be good? Didn't I painstakingly train to ascend and become an immortal? You can ascend and become an immortal all of a sudden, how can it not be beautiful? Unfortunately, this is only a fragment of the dragon field. Moreover, it seems like the connection with the dragon field has already been cut off. Otherwise, I really want to hide here and not go out. Dragon vein Xiaohua is still channeling his energy while talking with Xiaohua. That dragon energy unceasingly rushes into his body. Is there anything else to say? It is definitely a fragment. Moreover, the connection with the dragon field has been cut off. Xiaohua sneered. Otherwise, the 9 elders of the dragon island would have already entered. Who would have the patience to train bitterly in the dragon island? Dragon vein Xiaohua noticed the golden crystal on the ground and asked in a low voice, this is a dragon crystal, right? Xiaohua raised his hand and waved. That crystal didn't have any movement. Xiaohua's magic power only leaked out of his body, but it couldn't go very far. Xiaohua's expression changed. He hurriedly released his divine sense, Buddhist sense and soul sense. Unfortunately, no matter which one it was, it couldn't go very far. This is troublesome. Although it isn't as serious as what the Dragon Hall Great Elder said, it is almost the same. Xiaohua pinched his chin and looked at the hazy surroundings within the dragon energy. That distant mountain peak soars into the sky and the dense forest similarly covers the sun. If he didn't use his divine sense, how could he distinguish the danger with his naked eyes? At the same time that Xiaohua was secretly complaining, he also used the eye-clearing technique in elemental sense that he wasn't very good at. Fortunately, elemental sense can be used a bit in this stacked jade legacy realm. Although it can't go as far as the divine sense outside, it is better than nothing. Sigh, Xiaohua sighed. He bent down and picked up the crystal. He squinted his eyes and looked at it. This crystal is different from the crystal in the stacked jade legacy realm. It is irregular and the surface also doesn't have the small dragon scale-shaped flat surface. When Xiaohua raised the crystal and looked at the light coming from the sky, the crystal is completely bright inside. It doesn't have the flowing colors of the stacked jade legacy realm. Fellow Taoist, don't think too much. Dragon vein Xiaohua said with a smile. If I didn't expect, This dragon crystal is condensed from the dragon energy of the stacked jade legacy realm. It is the same as the elemental stones of the hidden immortal continent. However, this stacked jade legacy realm is a fragment of the dragon domain. This dragon crystal must contain a lot of dragon energy. It is just right for I to use. Hearing this, Xiaohua raised his eyebrows and asked, "Fellow Taoist Dragon Vein, do you feel that the dragon race's heavenly dragon speech technique is somewhat similar to my Dao sex magic? I have never seen the true heavenly dragon speech technique. However, didn't fellow Taoist also comprehend this dragon transformation art? Are there traces of Dao sex magic inside?" Dragon Vein Xiaohua reminded. Especially the first layer of the dragon transformation art is to temper the dragon body. It is extremely similar to the tempering of meridians in Dao sex magic. Oh, look at this dragon crystal again. Isn't it the same as the Dao sex elemental stones? Right, try tempering this dragon crystal using the method of tempering the earth crystal Yao milk in the past. Xiaohua's eyes flashed with understanding as he handed the dragon crystal to Dragon Vein Xiaohua. Dragon Vein Xiaohua opened his mouth and the dragon crystal entered his mouth. However, after a moment, his face was filled with astonishment as he said with a somewhat hurried tone, "Fellow Taoist, you are right. This dragon crystal can indeed be tempered. However, the effect of this dragon crystal is different from the earth crystal Yao milk. It can enrich I's body." Good. Xiaohua's eyes lit up as he clapped his hands and exclaimed, "Since that is the case, I will get more dragon crystals with you. Also, fellow Taoist." Dragon Vein Xiaohua reminded again, "Since you can use elemental thoughts in this legacy realm, I presume fellow Taoist's demon body can also use it. Even if the dragon race is somewhat different from the demon race, they are still demons after all. And I understand." Xiaohua looked at the trees and rocks that were much larger than him and nodded. "This place is similar to the legacy realm. Everything is like a prehistoric land. If you want to survive here, you must use your transcendence golden body." As he spoke, Xiaohua urged the demon aura in his body. His body flashed with a dark golden luster as his transcendence golden body was displayed and turned into 100 feet in size. At the same time that Xiaohua used his divine ability, Dragon Vein Xiaohua also flew out from Xiaohua's body. Sure enough, Xiaohua, who had lost the protection of the dragon aura, although there was a slight sizzling sound all over his body, the extremely rich dragon aura could no longer cause substantial harm to Xiaohua. Boom! As soon as Xiaohua's transcendence golden body was formed, he immediately took out the wishful staff in his hand and hit a huge rock. In the roar, the huge rock was split into two and the golden dragon crystal could be seen inside. Xiaohua released his mind and rolled it slightly, and the dragon crystal was taken into the space. Roar! Dragon Vein Xiaohua roared and his dragon tail hit another huge rock. Unfortunately, Dragon Vein Xiaohua's tail seemed thin and the huge rock did not split. "Ah, fellow Taoist, you still don't have a body and can't take shape. How can you destroy this huge rock?" Xiaohua laughed. "You should cultivate by yourself first and let I help you get the dragon crystal." "Okay, I'll have to trouble you, fellow Taoist." Dragon Vein Xiaohua was not polite. He responded and urged the dragon transformation secret art. And the rich dragon aura of nearly 1,000 feet gathered again. Dragon Vein Xiaohua was good at refining the heaven and earth essence qi and he did not have a body at all. The dragon aura was like a part of his body. Once it came into contact with Dragon Vein Xiaohua, it immediately integrated into it. Dragon Vein Xiaohua's cultivation speed here was simply 100 times faster than in the hidden immortal continent. Dragon Vein Xiaohua cultivated endlessly. Xiaohua was not idle either. Holding the wishful staff, he cracked the huge rocks one by one. What made Xiaohua overjoyed was that there was a dragon crystal in each huge rock. Xiaohua had already picked up dozens of pieces of it. In the valley where Xiaohua fell, there were not many huge rocks left. Xiaohua released his essence perception and had a rough look. He then urged the demon cloud to forcefully fly to a mountain rock. This mountain rock was only at a corner of the mountain peak, and Xiaohua couldn't see very far from it. The mountain peak where Xiaohua was at was surrounded by towering mountain ranges. There were some valleys between the mountain ranges. These valleys and mountain ranges were covered by rich dragon aura. Xiaohua could not see clearly what it was like in the distance. Xiaohua looked up at the steep mountain range. He was not in a hurry. He jumped down from the mountain rock and slowly walked to another valley. There were some huge rocks scattered there. There was no sun or moon in the stacked jadeite legacy realm. Estimating the time, Xiaohua worked hard like this for 3 days in a row. He searched all the mountain valleys within a radius of a few li and collected hundreds and thousands of dragon crystals. Looking at the rubble everywhere, Xiaohua clapped his hands in satisfaction and put away the wishful staff. He looked at the gray sky again and said puzzledly, "What's going on with this Ao Sheng? Didn't we agree to let me wait in the same place and he could rely on the secret technique of the dragon clan to find me? It's been 3 days, why hasn't he come yet? Without his guidance, how can I find the dragon cleansing pool? Not to mention that the location of the dragon cleansing pool is different from last time. Even if the location of the dragon cleansing pool is recorded in the true dragon tablet, can I find it myself?" Chapter 4009. At this time, Xiaohua wanted to call Fujiwen and the others out, but looking at the surrounding dragon chi that could burst the body of an ordinary monster, Xiaohua still extinguished this thought. "Forget it, let's walk around casually first." Xiaohua thought for a moment and made a decision. "I can't just stay here and not move." Unfortunately, Xiaohua only walked a few li, and before he stepped out of the mountain range, his attention fell into a valley again. This valley was about 1,000 zhang high and several thousand zhang wide, and it was filled with large and small boulders. Xiaohua's gaze seemed to have seen through the boulders and saw the dragon crystal inside. Ha ha. Xiaohua laughed and threw the idea of looking for Ao Sheng to the back of his mind. He rushed into the valley with large strides and began to smash the boulders to search for the crystal again. After smashing for a while, shua, a yuan sense swept over from a distance. After this yuan sense fell on Xiaohua's body, it swept across the entire valley and then withdrew without stopping. "Is it Ao Sheng?" Xiaohua put away the wishful staff, straightened up and looked outside the valley. In just half a cup of tea's time, a roar came from the sky. "Human, quickly get out of here." Along with this nauseating sound, 1,000 zhang long earthy yellow dragon swayed its tail and fell from the sky. At this time, the surface of this dragon's body was different from that of the dragon island. It seemed to be covered with a thick layer of armor. The rich dragon chi wrapped his dragon body tightly, and the dragon chi was full of whirlpools. Layers of earthy clouds floated around the armor. In particular, in this stacked jade legacy realm, the dragon might of the dragon race was even more fierce. Before he even got close, the dragon might firmly covered Xiaohua, as if it wanted to give Xiaohua a show of strength. Xiaohua was not nervous at all. He looked at the dragon with interest and said with a smile, "Immortal friend, which dragon palace are you from? Don't you know what is first come first serve?" "I am from the South Sea Dragon Palace." The dragon did not hide his identity and shouted, "You, a human, can enter the stacked jade legacy realm to gain experience. It is already a great fortune. You still want to talk to me about first come first serve? To tell you the truth, in this stacked jade legacy realm, strength is everything. Not to mention you, even if Ao Sheng is here, as long as he can't beat me, he will have to give up this valley. I see that you are a human. I am afraid that you don't understand the rules here, so I am so long-winded with you. If you still don't leave, don't blame me for being impolite." While speaking, the dragon bared its fangs and brandished its claws and pounced on Xiaohua. Although Xiaohua, he was still a child in front of 1,000 zhang long dragon. Roar. Just at this time, Dragon Vein Xiaohua suddenly rushed out from high up in the valley. He let out a long roar in midair, and actually seemed like a huge dragon that was several thousand meters long as he swayed his head and tail and pounced over. Dragon Vein Xiaohua didn't have the body of a real dragon. Previously, he was lying on top of the mountain range and absorbing the endless dragon chi as much as he wanted. Therefore, the huge dragon didn't notice Dragon Vein Xiaohua's trace at all. At this moment, when it saw Dragon Vein Xiaohua pouncing over, it was so scared that it trembled. However, the giant dragon only trembled for a moment before immediately noticing Xiaohua's abnormality. He suddenly looked at Xiaohua again as if he had thought of something. You are Xiaohua of the Dao sect of the human race?" The huge dragon stopped and asked in surprise. Xiaohua nodded and replied, "That's right, it's me. No wonder you are so fearless." The giant dragon hurriedly released his yuan shen and said, "So Ao Sheng is here too." However, the giant dragon looked for a moment and did not see Ao Sheng. A strange look unwittingly appeared on his face and he said with a smile, "I understand. When you entered the stacked jade legacy realm and separated from Ao Xing, he still hasn't found you. Ah. The heavens have really opened their eyes. I've just entered the stacked jade legacy realm and I've already encountered such a great lucky chance. As it spoke, the giant dragon's body flashed with golden light, and its body continued to expand. It gave up on Xiaohua and pounced towards the dragon vein Xiaohua. Xiaohua stared blankly and hastily cried out, "That vile dragon! We are all from the Dragon Island who came to the stacking jade legacy realm to gain experience. If you want the dragon crystal in this valley, this Xiao can give it to you. Why must you attack this Xiao? What do you know?" The huge dragon roared and shouted, "Although this dragon crystal can be used for cultivation and strengthen this daddy's dragon chi, how can it compare to the nourishment of your human bloodline? Be obedient and let this lousy devour your bloodline and help this lousy step into the sun-devouring realm." Roar. How could the dragon vein Xiaohua give in? With a loud roar, the giant dragon's body relentlessly coiled over. Haha. The giant dragon laughed loudly. Its dragon claws streaked across the air, raising wind blades that were similar to flying swords. Its dragon tail also swayed and struck towards the back of the dragon vein Xiaohua. On the ferocious dragon head, a pair of dragon horns produced a strong fluctuation. That fluctuation gradually condensed into a strange dragon rune in the air. It's just blood chi. I don't know how much I've eaten back then. Today this lousy is lucky to have met you as soon as I entered. I'm afraid that this luck will be envied by the other dragons. Hee hee. Xiaohua sneered. At this moment he suddenly understood the look in the eyes of those dragons when they looked at him before he entered the stacked jade legacy realm. That strange look was not envy, jealousy, or hatred but covetous. Covetous like a dog seeing a meat bun. Roar. The dragon vein Xiaohua screamed. The giant dragon's dragon claws slashed down and instantly cut open his dragon body. Although this dragon body had already been tempered by the dragon transformation art, after all it was still a short time. Especially this dragon body. It was not a real dragon body at all. Immediately after, with a loud bang, the giant dragon's dragon tail smashed onto the back of the dragon vein Xiaohua. Not only did it shatter the dragon body, it also hit the dragon vein Xiaohua more than 300 meters down. At this moment the giant dragon's dragon horns condensed like a giant sword. As long as the giant sword of the dragon crystal slashed down, the dragon vein Xiaohua would definitely be split into two and fall into the giant dragon's mouth to be eaten. At this moment Xiaohua, who was already regarded as a dead object, was still unhurried. With a cold face he looked at the raging giant dragon and asked, "Looks like you've swallowed a lot of human blood chi. Aha, you humans worship my dragon race, isn't it because you want to submit to my dragon race? Besides, you humans are originally my dragon race's food. Being able to be eaten by me is your fortune." The giant dragon laughed loudly. "Once you're in my stomach, let my dragon chi nourish you every day." As it spoke, the giant sword appeared at the giant dragon's dragon horn. The wind and clouds above the entire valley surged. A giant sword-shaped dragon rune made a loud noise and smashed towards the dragon vein Xiaohua's body. "You're just a star-plucking realm little dragon, yet you dare to be arrogant in front of me." Xiaohua smiled coldly. Demonic clouds swirled around his body. Heavenly law embodiment technique and heavenly human body bestowment technique were used once again. The draconic chi that was previously occupied by the giant dragon also crazily entered Xiaohua's Dharma idol. What was special was that even the mighty dragon runes paled in comparison to the surging clouds. When the giant dragon saw this, he couldn't help but be a little shocked. However, seeing that the dragon rune had already fallen, a mocking look appeared in his eyes. He knew in his heart that as long as his dragon rune fell, Xiaohua's dragon blood Dharma body would definitely be shattered. And without the support of the bloodline, the human race would be as fragile as a paper lantern. Woo! Just when the giant dragon thought that victory was in his hands, he saw Xiaohua's Dharma body suddenly wave, and a thick iron staff appeared in his hand. The iron staff made a roaring sound and smashed towards the dragon rune with lightning speed. Has this person lost his mind? The giant dragon couldn't help but ridicule in his heart. The dragon claws danced again, grabbing towards Xiaohua's heart. He laughed wildly and said, "Human race, let me taste your heart and see if it's as big as I think." Boom. The giant dragon's dragon claws had just explored when the wishful steel staff suddenly swelled and hit the dragon rune. In the huge roar, a corner of the dragon rune was smashed, and the power of the entire dragon rune was reduced by 30%. However, the dragon rune seemed to have the essence of the giant dragon mixed in it. At the moment when the wishful steel staff hit, it drifted a few feet and avoided the wishful steel staff. The remaining 70% of the giant sword shape did not stop and still fell with a roar. This is interesting. The giant dragon was surprised. The dragon claws that could crush ordinary magic weapons had already reached not far from Xiaohua's heart, and the fierce strength had covered Xiaohua's dark golden skin. Roar! The dragon vein Xiaohua screamed, and the huge body flew in the direction of Xiaohua. The dragon rune was like a sword that also slashed towards Xiaohua. Fight! Xiaohua roared, clenched his right fist and greeted the dragon rune. Xiaohua's fist was like a meteor, and the battle momentum was like a tide. The surging fighting spirit in his body could pierce the sky. Boom! Compared to the previous impact of the wishful steel staff, it was even more earth-shattering. Half of the dragon rune was shattered by Xiaohua's right fist, and the other half fell on Xiaohua's arm. Under the powerful force, cracks appeared on Xiaohua's right fist, and his shoulder was also torn a few feet long. Even Xiaohua's transcendence golden body was also beaten to the ground by the dragon rune. While the dragon was still in shock, its eyes flashed with a sinister light. The dragon claw suddenly turned into a shadow and disappeared in midair. After a few breaths of time, the dragon claw appeared in front of Xiaohua's chest and landed on Xiaohua's chest with a ka-cha-cha sound. A bone-deep injury appeared in the dark golden color. Roar! The dragon roared. The dragon aura within several dozen li became violent again. The dragon claw flashed with an earthen yellow brilliance and went straight for Xiaohua's chest. Haha! Just when the mouth and nose of the giant dragon had smelled the sweetness of the human heart, Xiaohua's laughter came. The dragon claws of the giant dragon suddenly seemed to be imprisoned by a boulder, and could no longer pierce into Xiaohua's body. Moreover, the dragon's eyes were dazzled. Xiaohua's fist was several times more violent than before, and suddenly hit the chest of the giant dragon. Boom! There was a loud noise, and the almost indestructible dragon's scales were suddenly shattered. The strength of the fist was like a mountain falling down, and the giant dragon's eyes turned black and it almost fell from the sky. Chapter 40:10. How is this possible? The giant dragon was shocked. Its neck struggled frantically, and its bloody mouth was about to swallow Xiaohua's head. Come on! Xiaohua shouted, and his body once again emitted a whimpering sound like a tide, and his transcendence golden body swelled again. Boom! Without waiting for the giant dragon's bloody mouth to fall, the wishful steel staff flashed mysteriously. The giant dragon had no time to dodge and was hit on the bridge of its nose. The giant dragon roared and tears flowed uncontrollably from its nose. Even its fierce eyes flashed with blood. Boom boom boom. Just as the giant dragon was about to swing its tail to kill Xiaohua from behind, it heard a series of movements. A fist wind that could shatter a mountain fell on the body of the giant dragon like raindrops. This fist was so hard that not only did it disperse the dragon chi around the giant dragon's body, but it also knocked off the dragon's scales. Even the dragon's body under the dragon's scales was hit with a huge crack, and the dragon's blood had already flowed out. Damn it, damn it. The dragon tried its best to pull out its dragon claw, but the dragon claw seemed to have been cast into Xiaohua's body. No matter how hard the dragon tried, it couldn't pull it out. The dragon couldn't help but roar. Waves of dragon breath blew out from its bloody mouth like a gale. Fellow Taoist, it's your turn. In the face of the dragon's breath that couldn't be dealt with by spiritual power, Xiaohua was not nervous. He laughed and lifted his left foot, kicking toward the abdomen of the giant dragon. Woo! Dragon vein Xiaohua had been hovering behind Xiaohua. Now that he heard Xiaohua's command, he proudly raised his head from the top of Xiaohua's head. The dragon's mouth, which was larger than the southern sea giant dragon, opened, and a powerful suction force was born from the dragon's mouth. With the suction force, dragon vein Xiaohua's true dragon aura suddenly bloomed, like a tide pressing down on the giant dragon. Ah! This is true dragon chi? How can you have true dragon chi? The figure of the southern sea giant dragon couldn't help but tremble. The dragon's breath changed direction under this suction force and flew toward Dragon Vane Xiaohua. Not good. When the southern sea giant dragon saw the dragon breath land in Xiaohua's mouth and was immediately swallowed by him, it immediately became vigilant and struggled with all its might, wanting to escape from Xiaohua's hands. Unfortunately, just as he struggled, Xiaohua's fists and kicks and the wishful staff fell again. The southern sea dragon could only deal with it tiredly. In just a few moments, the southern sea giant dragon's skin and flesh were lacerated and dragon blood flowed out. This was nothing. What caused the southern sea dragon's soul to fly out of his body was that the dragon Vane Xiaohua, who was supposed to be devoured by him, had now opened his bloody mouth. A surging suction force was sucking away the dragon aura within his body. No matter how he activated the dragon clan's secret technique, he was unable to stop the dragon aura from flying out of his body. Under normal circumstances, the giant dragon of the southern sea would have either torn his opponent to shreds or fled immediately. Either way, he would have been able to escape death. However, at this moment his dragon claws were embedded in Xiaohua's body and could not be pulled out. Xiaohua's physical body and martial arts were several levels above his. Even if he wanted to escape, he could not. Roar. The southern sea dragon let out a sorrowful cry, and a wash-basin-sized dragon pearl was spat out from his mouth. As soon as the dragon pearl fell into the air, the dragon aura within 100 miles seemed to boil and rush toward the dragon pearl. A fierce little dragon of 100 feet in size flashed with dragon patterns as it fiercely rushed toward Dragon Vane Xiaohua. The little dragon was only 1,000 feet away from the Dragon Vane Xiaohua. Hundreds of spatial cracks appeared in this 1,000-feet space as the little dragon flew past. Within those cracks, there was an endless amount of dragon chi that seemed to be even smaller little dragons surging out. When Dragon Vane Xiaohua saw this, he couldn't help but laugh. Oh, what a stupid dragon. If you fight with I face to face, how can I be your opponent? But if you take out this dragon aura and dragon pearl, even if you have 2 more, you are still not I's opponent. With that, Dragon Vane Xiaohua's body surged with powerful dragon aura, and suddenly, it shrouded the surrounding hundreds of feet of space. The void that was torn by the dragon pearl was instantly repaired by Dragon Vane Xiaohua's dragon aura, and the seemingly endless dragon aura fell into Dragon Vane Xiaohua's body. Your bloodline can still speak? The southern sea dragon was shocked and cried out, "Could it be? You have already mastered the art of fake body? This is impossible." Woo. As Dragon Vane Xiaohua rushed over, the fierce dragon pearl also fell into his mouth. No matter how the southern sea dragon urged the dragon pearl, there was no movement. How could Xiaohua answer the question of the southern sea dragon? His face showed a fierce expression and his hands waved at the same time. Boom. The southern sea dragon was overturned on the ground, and then his right hand raised to the sky, raised the wishful steel staff, and stabbed towards the neck of the southern sea dragon. Puff. The sound of silk being torn was heard, and the wishful steel staff penetrated the body of the southern sea dragon and went straight into the ground. The dragon roared in pain and its whole body rolled on the ground crazily. However, the wishful steel staff penetrated the ground like a sea-stabilizing needle, nailing the southern sea dragon there. This old man's disciple has long wanted to eat dragon meat skewers, and this old man wants to find an evil dragon to pull out the dragon tendons and skin the dragon. You are good. Seeing this old man, you didn't hide but actually came over. You must have eaten too many people before and those vengeful spirits sent you here. As the saying goes, if you often stand by the river, how can your shoes not be wet? You will admit defeat today. Xiaohua sneered, raised his hand and grabbed the tail of the southern sea dragon. His 5 fingers grabbed the tail and immediately, a thumb-thick dragon tendon was held in his hand. You dare. The southern sea dragon shouted, "This is the fragment of the dragon domain. If you dare to attack my dragon race, the dragon domain Shenron will definitely kill you." Haha. Since you know it's a fragment, don't expect anything from the Shenron. Xiaohua laughed. Besides, no matter where you are, if you dare to kill my human race cultivators, this old man will dare to kill your dragon race. Ah! The southern sea dragon screamed and the dragon body collapsed to the ground. The tough dragon tendon was pulled out by Xiaohua. Taking advantage of the collapse of the southern sea dragon's body, Dragon bloodline Xiaohua's figure fell on his dragon body, but a shadow came out of the southern sea dragon's body and fell into dragon bloodline Xiaohua's body. Woo woo. Dragon bloodline Xiaohua made a sound without wind, and within his whole body endless dragon runes rolled, and a ray of light gushed out, shooting straight into the air. Ha ha. Dragon bloodline Xiaohua looked up to the sky and laughed, and the dragon chi overflowed. Fellow Taoist, you said it very well. If you often stand by the river, how can your shoes not be wet? This evil dragon usually devours the blood of the dragon race's descendants, but I didn't expect it to be devoured by I today. With this evil dragon's blood essence I can cultivate for 100 years less. Seeing that the southern sea dragon's blood essence and dragon chi were gone, Xiaohua also hardened his heart and coldly snorted, "Those who kill will be killed. Even if it's the dragon race, it's the same." Then Xiaohua pulled out the wishful staff, released his mind and put the southern sea dragon into the space, and threw the dragon tendon to Fujiwen and the others. Putting aside whether or not Yuanya had really barbecued this southern sea giant dragon, Xiaohua withdrew his transcendence golden body and looked at the dragon vein that was boiling with dragon runes. He frowned and said, "Fellow Taoist, could it be that you also want to devour more dragons in this stacked jade legacy realm?" Hee hee. Dragon bloodline Xiaohua laughed. "I know that the demon race uses devouring as the orthodox cultivation method, but I have never devoured a dragon race and I don't know the mystery inside. Today, after a little test, I already know the mystery inside. The demon race is different from the human race. They devour the power of the stars and moon, devour dragon chi, and their cultivation is devouring. I am dragon bloodline, so I can naturally devour everything in the world." Alas, Xiaohua sighed and said with some disappointment, "Maybe. Fellow Taoist doesn't need to sigh." Confucian cultivator Xiaohua said, "You and I are different, there is no need to compare and there is no need to worry. This little one cultivates the Confucian Tao, and the main purpose is to refine the breath of life in the chest. Buddha Bodhi cultivates Dharma and has long been on a different path from us. Now that fellow Taoist dragon bloodline devours dragon chi, isn't it the same as fellow Taoist heavenly phoenix cultivates the bloodline of the holy? Doesn't your Tao sect have a saying that the heavens and earth are not benevolent, treating all things as straw dogs? Look at that southern sea dragon just now. In your opinion, his crime of devouring the blood of human cultivators is unforgivable, but in his eyes, this is an extremely normal thing. Fellow Taoist, don't worry." Dragon bloodline Xiaohua said with a smile, "Humans are human because they have humanity. I am a clone of the human race, relying on the humanity in my heart. I will not casually harm the heavens and bully the weak." Hehe, you don't have to say anything more. Xiaohua smiled slightly. "I have 10 primordial spirits and each of us has our own path, each of us has our own opportunities. How can I not know this? I just feel a little lonely, and in the future we may go further and further away. Perhaps." Confucian cultivator Xiaohua and dragon bloodline Xiaohua were both speechless. "Ah, not bad, there are so many dragon crystals." Xiaohua raised his head and looked over, only to see that at the place where he was fighting with the southern sea giant dragon, many huge boulders had been split open, and the dragon crystals within them had fallen out. He laughed loudly and his mind swept up all of the dragon crystals and collected them. Afterward, Xiaohua was too lazy to use the wishful staff to break the stones, and stepped into the valley with dragon bloodline Xiaohua. Wherever he passed, all the boulders were collected by his mind. Woo-woo. Just when Xiaohua had walked halfway, a strange whistling sound suddenly came from the sky of the valley. When Xiaohua heard this sound, he immediately shouted, "Not good, fellow Taoist dragon bloodline, quickly come back. This folded jadeite legacy realm is about to change." Dragon bloodline Xiaohua did not dare to neglect, and hurriedly rushed into Xiaohua's body, while Xiaohua urged his monster chi to rush toward the end of the valley, wanting to collect all the boulders before the change came. As soon as the whistling wind was born, the sky of the entire folded jadeite legacy realm immediately darkened, and all the dragon chi began to become violent. In just a few breaths, the legacy realm was turned upside down, the mountains were upside down, the ancient trees were slanted, and everything was like a picture scroll blown by the wind, completely blurred. Chapter 40:11. Looking at Xiaohua's figure again, the bronze luster slowly dispersed. His figure rapidly shrunk and gradually returned to its original form. As Xiaohua walked, all of the huge rocks disappeared. However, even though Xiaohua's movements were fast, he still couldn't compare to the changes in the Forgotten Realm. Just as he walked halfway through the valley turned upside down. Xiaohua's figure also flew up. That small figure was like a withered grass, fluttering helplessly in this gale. Xiaohua curled up his figure and tried his best to avoid colliding with the rocks and other objects in the folded jade Forgotten Realm. After that, he carefully released his primordial thought. Unfortunately, just as his primordial thought was released, it was immediately torn apart by a huge wind blade. Xiaohua had no choice but to withdraw his primordial thought. He secretly cursed in his heart, "Damn it, don't say any more. That golden crystal is definitely the folded jade Forgotten Realm itself. It's not just an entrance. The changes in everything right now are the overflowing images in that crystal." However, the Dragon Palace Hall's True Dragon Tablet clearly stated that this change would normally only happen when the folded jade Forgotten Realm is closed. During ordinary experiential training, it wouldn't happen so easily. Could it be that there are other changes in this folded jade Forgotten Realm? Thinking until here, with a loud boom, Xiaohua's figure crashed into a mountain rock. This rumbling sound was really nothing compared to the earth-shattering movement. However, the force of Xiaohua's collision still penetrated the entire mountain rock. Without waiting for Xiaohua to shake off the stone fragments on his body, the hurricane lifted him into the air again. Narrowing his eyes, he looked at the countless chi pillars wreaking havoc in the space. Xiaohua's heart moved and he thought again. This folded jade Forgotten Realm is known as the fragment of the dragon domain. Although the Dragon Island didn't explain its origin, and from the outside, it doesn't seem to have any relation with the dragon domain, there is a mysterious boundary in the folded jade Forgotten Realm. However, the True Dragon Tablet also said that there was a mysterious thin layer of space at the edge of the stacked jade legacy land. As long as a dragon, human, or demon fell in, no matter how tough their body was, they would be crushed. Could it be that this folded jade Forgotten Realm matches what fellow Taoist Long Mai thought? There really are some places that have some relation with the dragon domain. That's for sure. Thinking until here, Xiaohua unconsciously thought of the Dragon Island's purpose of letting over 10,000 dragons and their descendants come to the folded jade Forgotten Realm for experiential training. The 9 elders of the Dragon Island didn't tell me the truth. Unfortunately, even though Ao Xing looked like a little dragon, he was very scheming at times. It was not easy to get information out of him. This Xiao was wrong. What does the Dragon Island's goal have to do with this Xiao? I only need to find the incomplete dragon jade and the dragon cleansing pool. As for the rest, they can do whatever they want. This Xiao will absolutely not interfere. Hong hong hong. A series of sounds rang out and a mountain range actually flew horizontally across the sky. Xiaohua didn't have any hesitation, and his figure crashed into the mountain range with a loud bang. Moreover, this mountain range was extremely thick, and for a moment it was not easy for Xiaohua to come out. That's great. Xiaohua, who had fallen into a predicament, was not alarmed but happy instead. He smiled and said, "This Xiao can finally be stable. It won't be too late for this Xiao to come out after this mountain range stabilizes in the Forgotten Realm." Unfortunately, Xiaohua's wishful thinking hadn't even started. Boom. Another huge sound came from outside the mountain range, and even the entire mountain range shook. Xiaohua originally thought that the mountain had already landed, but a series of loud noises immediately followed. Xiaohua's figure, which was embedded in the mountain, felt shaken. Damn it, the mountain range must have crashed together. Xiaohua slightly released his elemental perception, and sensed that the mountain rocks of the mountain range had already loosened, and was about to drill into the depths of the mountain range again. A blood-curdling scream came from the collision sound, and then with another rumble an extremely unlucky huge dragon flew across the sky, and crashed into the side of the mountain range that Xiaohua was in. The huge dragon's figure was not easy to shrink in this folded emerald Forgotten Realm, and it was even a bit bigger. The force of this collision was extremely great, and the place where Xiaohua was embedded originally had some fine cracks. Now these fine cracks had completely split open, and Xiaohua's figure flew out from the mountain range. Just as Xiaohua appeared in midair, 2 hurricanes attacked from high up in the sky, and slapped Xiaohua together with that huge dragon towards the ground. Woo! Two whistling sounds of wind, and one dragon and one person were about to smash into the ground. It was also at this moment that, gotcha, the ground suddenly split open, and a suction force that was even more powerful than the distortion of space was born from the crack, enveloping the surrounding several thousand zhang of space. Not good. Nearly 100 zhang in size, the mountain top that had just been knocked down by the huge force of the crack, turned into a few feet in size and fell into the crack. Xiaohua was scared out of his wits. Grandma, is this the thin layer of space around the folded emerald forgotten realm? Xiaohua urged the dragon chi of the dragon vein to get out of this suction force. It was fine if he did not urge it, but as soon as he urged it, the suction force immediately increased. His figure instantly floated into the crack 100 zhang. Xiaohua immediately withdrew the dragon chi without hesitation, raised his hand and waved it, and the wishful steel staff fell into his hand. Grow, grow, grow. Xiaohua shouted several times, and with the strength of his arms, the wishful steel staff was inserted into the ground. Boom! With a soft sound, the wishful steel staff was inserted into the ground for a full 100 zhang. Weng weng. Xiaohua's figure horizontally, holding the wishful steel staff with both hands, and the wishful steel staff made a low roaring sound. Grow, grow, grow. Xiaohua shouted desperately. The wishful steel staff seemed to know Xiaohua's thoughts, and also desperately inserted into the ground. As the wishful steel staff went deeper, Xiaohua's figure gradually stabilized. At this time, the giant dragon who was caught by the suction force like Xiaohua was not so lucky. Although he tried his best to struggle, the more he struggled, the more he moved toward the crack. Now, a small half of the dragon's body had fallen into the crack, and the dragon's body had become a lot smaller. Taoist Xiao, save me. The giant dragon saw that Xiaohua was stable and could not help but shout for help. Xiaohua stabilized his mind and looked up at the dragon that he did not know. After thinking for a moment, he looked at the situation of the dragon and hurriedly shouted, "Okay, Taoist friend, don't worry, quickly find a way to throw out your dragon tail. This Xiao can save you by grabbing your dragon tail." At this time, the dragon slanted into the crack, and his tail was close to Xiaohua's left side. After listening to Xiaohua's suggestion, he hesitated. If he threw his dragon tail to Xiaohua, then his dragon head would definitely fall into the crack first, and Xiaohua would not necessarily be able to grab his tail. Of course, he only paused for a moment. Then he threw all his eggs in one basket and swung his dragon tail towards Xiaohua's side. Whoosh! At this time, the dragon tail became small under the suction force of the crack. As the dragon tail swung, the dragon's head indeed entered the crack first. A faint fluctuation spread out from the dragon's head, and in a moment, it swept through the dragon's body. The dragon tail that was swinging towards Xiaohua became even smaller. How could it still touch Xiaohua? The moment the dragon disappeared into the crack, he saw that his dragon tail was dozens of feet away from Xiaohua. His heart was already like dead ashes. He closed his eyes and waited for the moment when he would be torn apart by the space. Just as the pain came from the dragon's back, a huge force strangely came from his dragon tail. Xiaohua's arm suddenly lengthened by more than 10 zhang, firmly grabbing onto the dragon's tail. "Get up!" Xiaohua shouted, wanting to pull the dragon out of the crack. However, the dragon's body was only able to escape from the crack. It couldn't completely escape the huge suction force. Sigh. Xiaohua sighed slightly. He could only forcibly grab the dragon's tail and try his best not to let the dragon fall into the crack. However, the suction force of the crack was the power of heaven and earth. It was far beyond Xiaohua's strength. It was just a cup of tea's time, but Xiaohua's arm trembled slightly. Not only was he unable to hold the dragon firmly, but he could not even hold the wishful staff. "Granny, this dragon's body is too big. The suction force he suffers is far greater than this Xiao's." Xiaohua secretly complained. He knew in his heart that if he wanted to survive, he had to give up something. Only by giving up this dragon could he save his life. Xiaohua needed to make a choice. "Taoist Master Xiao, don't let go." The dragon had already noticed the trembling of Xiaohua's arm and hurriedly shouted, "As long as Taoist Master Xiao saves this one, no need to say more." Xiaohua clenched his teeth and shouted, "This Xiao knows that this Xiao will do his best to save you." Xiaohua had just said this when a huge boulder flew from a distance and hit the wishful steel staff. Buzz! The wishful steel staff shook slightly, and Xiaohua's hand couldn't help but tremble. Unfortunately, the brilliance in the slits suddenly increased and the suction force doubled. Xiaohua and the dragon's figure fell towards the brilliance. Xiao 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 xiao. Seeing that the dragon were about to be swallowed by the thin layer of space, the entire forgotten realm flipped again. Xiaohua and the dragon were pushed back 100 feet horizontally by a giant dragon. Just as Xiaohua's figure moved away, a crisp sound rang out and the man-eating crack actually closed. As soon as the strong suction force disappeared, Xiaohua and the giant dragon flew up again. After the time it took to eat a meal, the entire folded jade forgotten realm calmed down. After the smoke and dust settled, a desolate remnant realm full of dragon chi once again appeared in front of Xiaohua's eyes. Xiaohua drilled out from the gap between two mountain rocks and stood there tiredly. In the call of a mountain range a few hundred feet behind him, half of the dragon's body was badly mutilated and flew over with difficulty. Ao man greets Taoist Master Xiao. As the dragon flew over, he raised his dragon claws and shouted, "Many thanks to Taoist Master for helping me. Otherwise, this one would have been swallowed by the thin layer of space." "You're welcome." Xiaohua smiled and said, "You and I both came to the folded jade forgotten realm to gain experience. Meeting each other is fate. Fellow Taoist does not have to worry about this matter." Ao man hurriedly replied, "This matter may not be much in the eyes of Taoist Master, but in this one's opinion, it is more important than the heavens. How about this, Taoist Master? This one has a dragon pearl here that I obtained from a deserted island. Although this thing is useful to me, if it is given to Taoist Master to nourish your bloodline, the effect will be better. This one will use it to thank Taoist Master for saving my life." Chapter 40:12. Fellow Immortal, you don't have to be so polite, right? Xiaohua looked at the golden dragon pearl. This thing was indeed different from other dragon pearls. However, Xiaohua's dragon vein was not an ordinary true bloodline, so he might not be able to use it. Therefore Xiaohua rarely refused. However, Ao man did not give up and continued to smile stubbornly. "Taoist Master Xiao, you are wrong. As the saying goes, a drop of water should be repaid with a gushing spring. Taoist Master saved me and I only used this dragon pearl to thank Taoist Master. I already feel embarrassed. If Taoist Master doesn't even want this, how can I continue to train in this folded jade legacy realm?" Xiaohua did not know whether to laugh or cry. He thought for a moment and said, "All right, since that is the case, then I will be disrespectful." Seeing Xiaohua reach out to take the dragon pearl, Ao man smiled and said, "That's right, Taoist Master Xiao. I just entered the folded jade legacy realm and did not find any helpers. From now on I will follow Taoist Master Xiao." "Oh right, Taoist Master, this dragon pearl has to be released into the true blood Dharma body to be effective. I just happen to have some secret techniques to teach Taoist Master." "So it's like that." Xiaohua smiled and nodded, "I will summon my Dharma body now." "All right." Ao man raised his head and looked into the distance. "Strange, isn't Ao Xing with you? He should have come long ago. Even if there are changes in the folded jade legacy realm, it is impossible for him to not find you." While speaking, dragon vein Xiaohua had already flown out from the top of Xiaohua's head. The huge dragon mouth opened and the dragon pearl was sucked into his mouth. Seeing that the dragon was about to be sucked away by dragon vein Xiaohua, Ao man suddenly turned his head and spat out a mouthful of dragon breath that he had been brewing. Within the dragon breath, a hair-thin crystal-like object rushed out and instantly entered the dragon pearl. "Ao!" The dragon pearl roared and transformed into a 1-foot-long little dragon that crazily pounced on dragon vein Xiaohua. Xiaohua was shocked and hurriedly shouted, "Fellow Immortal Ao, what are you doing?" "Ha ha." Ao man laughed loudly, his face revealing a sinister expression. "Xiaohua, a little human like you actually dare to come to my dragon race's sacred realm to train? Why don't you take a piss and look to see your own shadow? Don't think that you have Ao Xing backing you up. What can a little dragon like him do? We dragons of the four seas don't dare to touch him, but what's so difficult about devouring your bloodline?" As he spoke, Ao man moved his body and pounced towards dragon vein Xiaohua. On his damaged dragon head, greed overflowed from his eyes. "Ha ha." Xiaohua laughed out loud. "Ao man, have you heard of the story of the farmer and the snake that is widely spread among our human race? Seeing that Xiaohua was so calm and that the dragon bloodline Dharma body that was still dodging suddenly stopped dodging and even opened its mouth, allowing the little dragon to enter its mouth, Ao Man had a bad feeling in his heart. His expression changed slightly and he sneered, "This old man naturally heard that story, but you are not a farmer and this old man is not a snake." "That's right. This Xiao is not a farmer and you are not a snake. But the essence of being ungrateful is the same." Xiaohua sneered as well. The bronze light around his body shone brightly, and the heavenly law's embodiment technique was executed once again. Dragon vein Xiaohua laughed sinisterly, opened its mouth and a strong suction force was produced. "Your bloodline Dharma body can actually absorb this old man's dragon chi?" Seeing that a suction force appeared out of thin air and enveloped the dragon chi on his body, a strange feeling of being penetrated through his body, Ao Man turned pale with fright. Xiaohua waved his fist, pounced forward and shouted, "Not only that. The Xiao also knows how to subdue dragons and tigers." Seeing this, how could Ao Man not know that Xiaohua had long been on guard? And he had fallen into Xiaohua's trap, so he hurriedly shook his head and wagged his tail, wanting to escape. Unfortunately, at this moment how could he still have the chance to escape? How could Xiaohua let him go? After a few moves, Ao Man was pressed to the ground by Xiaohua. The dragon vein Xiaohua fell into Ao Man's dragon body. Countless dragon runes tumbled in Ao Man's body, and rays of multicolored light swarmed out. "Humph!" Xiaohua raised his hand and grabbed without pity, taking Ao Man's broken dragon body into the space. He snorted coldly and said, "You want to use this Xiao's bloodline to repair your chi and blood, Ao Man? Your plan is really shrewd." "Fellow Taoist." Dragon vein Xiaohua got the advantage and said with a smile, "Do you know how to fish?" "Fish?" Xiaohua asked curiously. "I know what fishing is. I seem to have fished when I was young. What does fellow Taoist mean?" Dragon vein Xiaohua looked up at the stacked jade legacy realm that had completely changed and said with a smile, "There are so many small fish here, don't you want to catch a few?" Xiaohua suddenly understood and a thoughtful expression appeared on his face. After thinking for a while he said, "Okay. Let's go and see how many small dragons we can catch." Immediately after, Xiaohua looked around. While using his mind to collect the huge rocks in the surroundings, he walked out of the mountain range. In the next 10 days, not only did Xiaohua harvest a lot of huge rocks, his fishing plan was also very successful. Every dragon that saw Xiaohua pounced on him with bared fangs and brandished claws, wanting to devour his bloodline doppelganger. However, every single one of them became Xiaohua's prey. In 10 days he actually caught 12 huge dragons. In the end, even Xiaohua himself felt that it was a little inconceivable. "Damn it, fellow Taoist dragon vein." Xiaohua took a huge rock and an earthen yellow dragon body into the space. Looking at the dragon vein Xiaohua, whose body was full of dragon runes, he said with a bitter smile, "Are these dragons all idiots? I stayed in the stacked jade legacy realm for more than 10 days. If I was easy to be devoured, wouldn't I have disappeared long ago? Why do they look at I as if they saw a meat bun?" Fellow Taoist's performance in the Dragon Chi realm is too shocking. Dragon vein Xiaohua seemed to have eaten his fill. He picked his teeth with satisfaction and said with a smile, "I's bloodline doppelganger that is even bigger than Ao Sheng's dragon body has long become another target for them to enter the stacked jade legacy realm." "All right." Xiaohua smacked his lips and shrugged, "Then let's see who's prey." Roar. At this moment, a huge dragon roar came from afar. Xiaohua's familiar origin thought swept over, and then Ao Sheng's anxious voice came, "Xiaohua, put away your dragon vein doppelganger. Quickly fly up." Xiaohua was slightly startled. Just as he was about to speak, Ao Sheng shouted again, "Quickly or else it will be too late." Xiaohua didn't dare to be negligent. He hurriedly put away his dragon vein doppelganger and urged his demon body to fly up. At this moment, dozens of origin thoughts swept over along with Ao Sheng's origin thought. When they landed on Xiaohua's body, they were all ecstatic. Damn it! At this moment, how could Xiaohua not know what happened? He cried out in shock, "So many fish! How can I catch all of them?" "Quickly go." Ao Sheng flew closer. With a wave of his dragon claw, he grabbed Xiaohua in the air and shouted, "Quickly sit on my back." "Damn it, you are the first human to sit on my dragon's back. I am a dragon destined to be an elder of the Dragon Island in the future. You will have the capital to show off in the future. Xiaohua flew to the back of Ao Sheng's dragon and used his hand to grab Ao Sheng's dragon scales. He smiled and said, "That's right. In the future, if I become an immortal, you can also proudly say that Xiaohua Daoist Xiao sat on your back and escaped from the stacked jade legacy realm." Ao Sheng laughed loudly. Clouds gushed out from his dragon scales and his flying speed suddenly increased. "I didn't expect you to be more arrogant than me. With your cultivation, wouldn't it take you tens of thousands of years to become an immortal? At that time, I would have already become a clan elder." "Then let's compete." Xiaohua laughed and said, "Will I become an immortal earlier, or will your clan elder die earlier?" "Go." Ao Sheng scolded. "The clan elder told me to protect you well. How can you curse him to die earlier? Moreover, didn't you see that I am being chased by so many dragon cubs? Isn't it all because of you?" Then I will have to trouble you." Xiaohua was not surprised and said indifferently. Ao Sheng was a little curious about Xiaohua's calmness and asked, "Xiaohua, could it be that you already know?" Xiaohua nodded. "This Xiao has already collected a lot of dragon corpses in my universe ring." Ao Sheng's body trembled and he almost threw Xiaohua off his back. "How many dragons did you kill?" "Why would I kill them?" Xiaohua replied indifferently. "This Xiao is just giving them a taste of their own medicine." Ao Sheng was silent for a moment and laughed strangely. "Ah, Xiaohua, if I had known earlier, why would I still block for you? If not for the fear of revealing your whereabouts, I would not have been surrounded by those dragon cubs." Thank you." Xiaohua patted Ao Sheng's dragon scale and laughed. "When we get out, I will give you a few dragon tendons." "Damn it, my dragon scale is not something to be patted casually." Ao Sheng pretended to be angry and said, "You have to accompany me to kill a few dragon cubs." Xiaohua raised his eyebrows and laughed. "What? You are a small clan elder of Dragon Island. How can you lead me, a human, to kill other dragons? If the clan elder knows, I am afraid he will punish you, right?" What do you know?" Ao Sheng laughed. "The Dragon Palace of the Four Seas has been outside Dragon Island for a long time. They are already disrespecting the orders of Dragon Island. If I teach them a lesson, how can the clan elder say anything? Moreover, I am still young. To grow up, I naturally need to eat. I heard that the dragon pearls of the Dragon Palace of the Four Seas are not bad." I am already drooling." "Haha, good." Xiaohua immediately understood and nodded. "You should first get rid of the dragons behind you. This Xiao will let you see this Xiao's perfect fishing technique." "Alright." Ao Sheng let out a soft roar and the light around his body shone brightly. The clouds outside the dragon's scale gradually thickened and became transparent. As his flying speed increased, Ao Sheng's figure became blurry. Half a day later, on the side of a cliff, Ao Sheng flew beside Xiaohua's transcendence golden body like a lackey. Seeing Xiaohua smashing a dragon to the ground with a punch, he shouted and pounced forward. Unfortunately, he was still too weak. However, as soon as he got close, he was immediately knocked to the ground by the dragon's tail. Chapter 40:13. "Damn it! Xiaohua." Ao Sheng crawled up from the ground and shouted, "Hold him down, I want to eat his dragon pellet." "Dragon pellet?" Xiaohua was startled. He had seen Ao Zhan and Ao Shuai's dragon pellet before, but he didn't know about the heavenly dragon speech technique, so he didn't think much about it. Now Ao Sheng's words woke him up. The bloodline of the Absolute Saint didn't mention anything about Yao pellets, which meant that Xiaohua wouldn't have a Yao pellet like the other Yao beasts. Even the other Yao race that Xiaohua saw didn't have a Yao pellet, so why would the dragon race form a dragon pellet? This seemed to be similar to the cultivation of the human race. In other words, when Xiaohua was slightly distracted, the dragon crawled forward for a moment, then suddenly flew up, trying to escape. Ao Sheng saw this and said anxiously, "Xiaohua, are you in cahoots with this evil dragon? Do you want to let him go?" Suddenly, the dragon vein Dharma body rushed out from the top of Xiaohua's head and pounced on the dragon like a dark cloud. "Oh, your Dharma body." Ao Sheng didn't seem to understand why Xiaohua released his Dharma body at this time, but when he saw Xiaohua and the dragon vein Dharma body working together and devouring the dragon's bloodline, he couldn't help but be stunned on the spot, and a chill rose from the bottom of his heart. The eyes that had never been afraid showed a look of terror. Xiaohua stepped on the dragon that had lost its ability to fight, and turned his head in surprise. Ao Xing, didn't you want the dragon pellet? Why don't you come and take it? Jinren Xiao. Ao Xing was rarely honest, and his claws covered his chest and said pitifully, You didn't devour my bloodline too, right? He. Xiaohua sneered. If I wanted to devour you, I would have done it already, right? Why wait until now? Besides, wouldn't a living clan elder be more useful than a dead Ao Xing? In my eyes, your bloodline can't even be compared to this dumb dragon. Yes, he is a dumb dragon. Ao Xing came over with a smile and said, You let him go just now, but he still wanted to eat you. Instead, he was eaten by you. Serves him right. Xiaohua nodded and said, What you said is right. What I am fishing for is precisely those dragons who want to devour my bloodline. If no one dares to provoke this Xiao will definitely not provoke them. Spiritual master is wise, spiritual master is merciful. Ao Xing flattered Xiaohua as he took out the dragon core and happily swallowed it. Let's go, let's go, let's go. Ao Xing shouted, We're going fishing. Hee, Xiaohua reminded, fishing is important, but the dragon jade and the dragon cleansing pool are even more important. Spiritual master. Ao Xing cried bitterly. I'm still hungry. You have to let me eat my fill, right? Besides, the dragon cleansing pool is also one of the goals of the dragon's training. If it was so easy to find, why would so many dragons come in? Where's Long Yu? Xiaohua had thought that he was the only one who wanted to find the dragon cleansing pool, but he had not expected the dragon cleansing pool to be the target of this training. He could only ask Long Yu about it. Ao Xing looked at Xiaohua strangely and replied, You'll have to ask Taoist yourself. You are holding the damaged Long Yu. If you don't know, how would I know? Xiaohua immediately understood and shouted, Hurry up and tell me what the elders have arranged. This is my dragon race's secret technique. Ao Xing bitterly took out a bevan and handed it to Xiaohua. Originally, the elders wanted me to use the Long Yu to search for it. But it seems like Taoist won't give it to me. So, you should use it yourself. However, I'll say this first. In the folded Jade Legacy realm, Taoist can hold on to the Long Yu. Ao Xing slapped his forehead and shouted, You actually used this dragon vein Dharma body as an avatar to cultivate? Of course. Xiaohua nodded. Otherwise, why would this old man help him mold his body? Heavenly Abode River. Ao Xing remembered. You took Heavenly Abode River's avatar technique. I only comprehended 20 to 30%, it's nothing. Xiaohua looked around and said, Let's find a place to let I comprehend your Dragon Island's secret technique. Of course. Ao Xing had a flattering smile on his face. Taoist, if there's anything you don't understand, feel free to ask me. In just 3 to 5 days, Xiaohua brought Ao Xing out from a hidden valley. Then Xiaohua slapped his forehead and dragon vein Xiaohua rushed into the air. He opened his mouth and let out an extremely mysterious chant. Following this chant, strange waves appeared out of thin air. Immediately, within a few li, millions of dragon chi began to vibrate. One by one, dragon patterns as thin as hair gradually appeared. Finally, these dragon patterns gathered around dragon vein Xiaohua. Seeing this, Xiaohua did not hesitate to take out the broken dragon jade. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. A hurricane rolled up. These dragon patterns fell into the dragon jade like a myriad of streams returning to their origin. The entire dragon jade let out a low dragon roar. Circles of ripples rippled out. Then, a phantom was born from the broken part of the dragon jade, just like the missing part of the dragon jade. Roar. Dragon vein Xiaohua let out another low roar. A light golden dragon pattern spat out from his mouth and landed on the dragon jade. The phantom was immediately smeared with a layer of golden light. As the golden light flickered, it actually broke free from the dragon jade and flew towards a place with bared fangs and brandished claws. Let's go. Ao Xing was overjoyed and shouted, This item can only exist for 6 hours, and this dragon drawing technique can only be used once every 10 days. Alright. Xiaohua put away the dragon jade and landed on Ao Xing's back. Ao Xing let out a cheerful cry and rushed into the air. Half a day later, in a stone forest covered with sharp thorns, dragon vein Xiaohua flew in front. The dragon aura within several li rolled into a myriad of flying flowers as he flew. These flying flowers seemed to breathe into Dragon Vein Xiaohua's dragon body, and then they were spat out. Layers of clouds also surrounded these flying flowers in the air. Roar! Suddenly, a silver-white huge dragon flew out from a crack in the stone. This huge dragon's movements were very fast. Dragon Vein Xiaohua had just noticed it, but the huge dragon had already pounced on Dragon Vein Xiaohua. That kind of seemingly solid killing intent had already driven away the flying flowers and clouds. There was even a kind of vague spirit formation power that imprisoned Dragon Vein Xiaohua's left and right. Damn it! Dragon Vein Xiaohua cursed. Knowing that he had encountered a strong opponent, he urged his dragon body and hurriedly wanted to retreat. Unfortunately, before he could turn around, the huge dragon's dragon claws had already attacked. With a crackling sound, Dragon Vein Xiaohua's dragon body was torn apart with a several dozen meter-long wound. Oh! When the huge dragon saw Dragon Vein Xiaohua was actually injured, it couldn't help but be slightly stunned. Then, without the slightest hesitation, it opened its mouth and sucked towards Dragon Vein Xiaohua. Dragon Vein Xiaohua rejoiced in his heart. He pretended to escape, but he was unable to endure. As he escaped, he flew towards the huge dragon. Just as he was about to pounce on the huge dragon, countless dragon runes flashed on the huge dragon's dragon horn. Under the resplendent brilliance, those dragon runes were like little stars as they quickly surrounded Dragon Vein Xiaohua. At the same time, the huge dragon even roared. Its tail and claws attacked Dragon Vein Xiaohua together. What was special was that tiny dragon runes appeared on the huge dragon's scales. Those dragon runes gathered together, like the protective golden light of Taoism cultivators. They gave birth to a kind of intense repelling force, preventing Dragon Vein Xiaohua from invading. Crap! Dragon Vein Xiaohua felt a warning in his heart. He no longer dared to tangle with this huge dragon. Roar! With a furious roar, the dragon's body skyrocketed. Boom! With a series of loud noises, the dragon runes that surrounded him exploded violently. The surface of Dragon Vein Xiaohua's body was blasted into a bloody mess. Dragon Vein Xiaohua felt pain, but he didn't dare to tangle too much. Although he cultivated the dragon transformation art and his dragon body had been tempered, he still couldn't compare with a real huge dragon. The huge dragon's dragon claws and dragon tail attacked. Dragon Vein Xiaohua's dragon body violently shook. The flying flowers that had previously landed on his dragon body all flowed out. At this moment, Dragon Vein Xiaohua's entire body was covered in cracks, as if he had just been ravaged by this huge dragon. Damn it! Damn it! Damn it! Dragon Vein Xiaohua fiercely cursed and urged, "Fellow Taoist, why are you still not coming out?" Chapter 40:14. Fellow Taoist, don't panic, I'm coming. Xiaohua had long known about the crisis of Dragon Vein Xiaohua, but he was flying far away with Ao Xing and only arrived at this time. Xiaohua shouted, his whole body flashing with bronze brilliance. He raised his staff and smashed it towards the giant dragon. Roar, I'm coming too. Another arrogant voice also came, and Ao Xing shook his head and wagged his tail. But he just rushed forward, and when he saw the appearance of the silver giant dragon, he couldn't help but be stunned and said, Ao Xing? Ao Xing? Yuan, this human? Ao Qin saw Ao Xing and then looked at Xiaohua's fierceness. How could he not know what happened? He roared, I understand you actually colluded with the human race? Your grandmother. Ao Xing was also angry and shouted, what do you mean by colluding with the human race? If you are not greedy for the human race's bloodline, how could Ao Qin allow Ao Xing to say more? The dragon tail slapped towards Ao Xing and opened its mouth. Several dragon runes flew out and streams of dragon chi entered the dragon runes. A few sword lights that were even bigger than flying swords appeared and pierced towards Ao Xing. Xiaohua, help me. Seeing the dragon chi sword stabbing towards him, Ao Xing hurriedly shouted, Xiaohua, help me. Ao Qin's dragon runes were not many, but within a few miles, the great power of imprisonment was no less than the domain. How could Xiaohua not know that he and others had hit a nail? Now that he couldn't use most of his magical powers, he could only rely on his powerful monster body and the staff to defeat the enemy. Woo! The wishful steel staff whistled towards Ao Qin's dragon tail. Boom! With a loud bang, Ao Qin's dragon tail was flipped upside down by Xiaohua. Even the dragon scales on the dragon tail were broken. Ao Qin was surprised and even angrier. He suddenly abandoned Ao Xing and rushed towards Xiaohua again. When Ao Qin turned around, Ao Xing's dragon tail shattered the giant sword formed by the draconic carvings. However, Ao Xing's dragon tail was also badly mutilated, causing Ao Xing to grit his teeth in pain. His dragon body flipped a few times in the air, and under his scales demonic clouds spurted out as he twisted his waist and tried to escape. At this moment, Ao Qin's eyes were as red as blood. His huge dragon horn produced a strange fluctuation, and the rhythm of the two fluctuations were different. They intertwined and attacked Xiaohua. Moreover, Ao Qin's two dragon claws were more powerful than any magic treasure. They slashed through the air and instantly arrived in front of Xiaohua's chest. Under the fluctuations, the space around Xiaohua was extremely distorted. Waves of dragon qi were like thousands of wind blades that wanted to tear Xiaohua's body apart. Xiaohua didn't dare to take it head-on. A green light flashed between his eyebrows and a layer of green seal text appeared. Although the three corpses' Thunder's power wasn't obvious under the suppression of the dragon qi, it only destroyed a small part of the fluctuations. More wind blades fell on Xiaohua's body, and even more fluctuations attacked Xiaohua's Naiwan palace, blood vessels and other places, making Xiaohua feel an indescribable dizziness. Then Xiaohua clenched his teeth and roared, "Fight!" The wishful steel staff struck out again. Boom! With a loud bang, the dragon claw knocked Xiaohua's wishful steel staff askew. The huge force did not stop, and Xiaohua's body was lifted into the air. To Ao Qin's surprise, Xiaohua, who was in mid-air, seemed to have been smeared with oil under his feet. He drew a shadow in the air and actually borrowed the force of his blow to fly to the place where Ao Xing was. Ao Qin was stunned and angry. He hurriedly said, "Want to leave? You stay here obediently for this old man." After saying that, the other dragon claw suddenly extended and inserted itself into Xiaohua's back with a caw sound. However, to Ao Qin's surprise, he saw sparks flying behind Xiaohua's back. Not only did Ao Qin's dragon claw not pierce into Xiaohua's back, but it also sent Xiaohua flying, pushing him onto Ao Xing's back. Roar! Ao Qin roared, and the dragon qi within 100 miles boiled, and a fierce force of domain appeared again. Woo! Ao Xing let out a low roar and a rare 5-colored light appeared from his dragon horns. Wherever this light flowed, the boiling dragon aura calmed down, and Ao Xing's body became transparent again. Looking at the dragon vein Xiaohua, who had just escaped, he fell into Xiaohua's mind and quickly disappeared along with Ao Xing's body. Damn Ao Xing! Ao Qin's dragon claw slashed, and after knowing that Ao Xing had used the secret technique of Dragon Island to escape, he roared, "If I see you again, I will pull out your tendons and peel off your skin. You actually dared to join hands with the human race. Even Dragon Island won't say anything about it." While speaking, Ao Qin's expression changed, and he suddenly turned his head to look at the other side. With a sniff, his dragon body sank into the dragon qi and disappeared in a moment. Damn it! After half an hour, Ao Xing, who was flying wildly in the air, finally reappeared. He looked back with lingering fear and shouted, "You scared me to death. How did I meet Ao Qin of the Southern Sea Dragon Palace? This mad dragon is really unreasonable." Of course. Xiaohua also breathed a sigh of relief. This Ao Qin's methods are too strange. If we didn't leave quickly, I'm afraid we would have been tortured by him to the point of begging for death. Not only that, Ao Xing shouted, "This Ao Qin is the famous mad dragon of the Dragon Palace of the Four Seas. He doesn't recognize anyone. I heard that 500 years ago, a sun-devouring realm dragon accidentally offended him. Today he chased him for 1,000,000 miles from the Southern Sea to the Western Sea. Although many dragons came out to persuade him, they were all rejected, and in the end he killed that dragon in the chaotic sea. Not only that, he also pulled out the tendons and skinned the dragon, cut the dragon's body into pieces and fed it to the fish. Damn it!" Xiaohua was shocked. "Isn't this guy a pervert?" Of course. Ao Xing also carefully shrunk his neck. "Previously in the Dragon Qi realm, I still didn't see him. However, if it wasn't for you, I'm afraid he wouldn't dare to do anything to me." Forget it, Xiaohua laughed. In the future when we see him we will take a detour. Can he really chase us to the edge of the stacked jade legacy realm? The problem is... Ao Xing was a little worried. I don't know why Ao Qin came to the stacked jade legacy realm. If... Xiaohua obviously knew that Ao Xing didn't want him to know his purpose, so he simply didn't ask but looked around and asked, "Where are we? Is it the wrong direction from where Long Yu pointed?" Ao Xing rolled his eyes and retorted, "How would I know where we are? Anyway, I can still use the secret technique in the future. Let's wait a few days." Xiaohua nodded. "Let's go fishing again. Better be careful." Ao Xing patted his chest with his dragon claw. "Don't meet a freak like Ao Qin again." With that, Ao Xing carefully released his yuan sense, far from his previous unbridled appearance. Looking at Ao Xing's frightened expression, Xiaohua felt quite amused. "Io." Just as Xiaohua was laughing, Ao Xing suddenly shouted, using his dragon claw to point into the distance. "Spiritual master, quickly! There are many dragon corpses there." "Is that so?" Xiaohua was also shocked and hurriedly released his yuan sense. When he saw it clearly, he urged his body and flew towards the huge wood in the distance with Ao Xing. This area was different from what Xiaohua had seen before. It was all those huge round trees tall enough to reach the sky. Each round tree was pitch black, and within the pitch black there were strands of gold entwined. These huge trees, except for some branches at the top, didn't have any special branches. The place Ao Xing pointed to was within the group of huge trees, which was more than 100 miles long. It was a mess. Some huge trees were broken at the waist and sawtooth wooden thorns were like sharp swords piercing into the sky. On the ground there were many huge trees lying on the ground, and around the huge trees, there were some meat paste and blood splattered everywhere. Dragon corpses were either on top of the huge trees, or mixed in between them. There are a total of 12 corpses. Xiaohua sucked in a breath of cold air, stood in the air and muttered thoughtfully. Ao Xing didn't answer and hurriedly flew down. After carefully looking for a long time, he flew up into the air and replied, "It seems to be the North Sea and East Sea Dragon clan. None of them are from Dragon Island. Their dragon cores were all taken away." Xiaohua nodded. His figure descended and he examined them one by one. After a full meal's worth of time, he sat down on a round log. Using his hand to pinch his chin, he opened his mouth and said, "It seems like they were killed by someone. Oh, by other dragons." Why? Ao Xing was puzzled. "How can you tell?" "The fatal wounds of these dragons are all at the lower abdomen." Xiaohua pointed to a huge dragon and said, "Take a look for yourself. The wound is dozens of feet long. It was obviously torn by a dragon claw." Ao Xing was a little doubtful. After landing, he looked carefully, then looked at the others and finally raised his own dragon claw and gestured a few times, nodded and said, "It looks a little strange. It seems to be torn by a dragon claw, but it also seems to be a little different. However, the body of my dragon clan is tough. Ordinary dragon weapons, imperial weapons and magic treasures are not easy to break, not to mention tearing it in one strike. Only dragon claws or dragon horns have this kind of effect. Do you still remember how this old man made things difficult for you when you entered Dragon Island?" Xiaohua looked at the dragon corpses and asked. Ao Xing said disapprovingly, "What do you mean by making things difficult? You, a human, want to enter Dragon Island. Of course it's not that easy. However, it can be said that I have fate with Taoist." "Don't say so much." Xiaohua waved his hand and said, "This old man encountered some strange things on the way to Dragon Island." "Oh, what strange things?" When Ao Xing heard that there was a story, he immediately became interested. Xiaohua then told the murder that happened on the Dragon Island, and finally pointed to the dragon corpses and said, "Looking at these dragon corpses, this old man can't help but think of Dragon Island. Dragon Python and the others are anxious to come to Dragon Island. Is it related to these dragons?" "You are right." Ao Xing replied seriously. "Fourth Elder didn't say much about Dragon Python, but I also heard some rumors. It seems to be related to the Gui clan. In my opinion, these dragons should be killed by the Gui clan." Chapter 40:15. But the problem is... Xiaohua glanced at Ao Xing and asked faintly, "And escaped from Dragon Island with Long Yu, and there were even dragons who brought Long Yu into the stacking jade legacy realm. They for what?" "This." Ao Xing was still a little hesitant. He waved his hand and said, "This is my Dragon Island's secret. It's better if you don't know." Xiaohua asked curiously. Now that things have come to this, you still remember the elder's instructions? Yes. Ao Xing sighed. If it was someone else I might have said it, but in front of you I don't dare to say it casually. That's strange. Could it be because of my dragon vein Dharma body? Xiaohua wanted to get to the bottom of it. Ao Xing smiled. This is naturally one of the reasons, but it's not the most important. Strange, what's the most important thing? Taoist is a little greedy. Ao Xing smiled. I'm afraid that if I say it you will think too much. Ah, you're right. Xiaohua laughed and waved his hand. Wherever his mind went, whether it was the giant wood or the dragon's corpse, they all fell into his space. What's more, Xiaohua actually raised the wishful staff, but in a moment, dozens of giant wood had been taken into Xiaohua's space. No way, Taoist. Ao Xing opened his mouth and asked, what do you want these wood for? To build a thunderboat. Xiaohua didn't hide it and replied, wait until I build it, you will know. Alas, I can't compare to your Dragon Island. Dragon Island has everything, and there is also a group of dragons to show their filial piety. Naturally, I don't need to think too much. I started from scratch, so I have to worry about everything myself. After dozens of days, Xiaohua didn't know fatigue as he searched for the rare giant wood in the world, and Ao Xing's voice sounded from time to time on the increasingly rare giant wood. Taoist, it's about time, right? We came to the Stacking Jade Legacy realm to gain experience. Not for you to cut wood. Besides, you should leave some memories for the future generations. You can't not leave a single giant wood. Alright. Xiaohua straightened up, clapped his hands, looked at the few remaining giant wood, raised his hand and patted his forehead, smiled. Fellow Taoist can come out now. Roar. Dragon vein. Xiaohua roared and flew out. The dragon body that was torn apart by Ao Qin had also recovered. Then Xiaohua took out the dragon jade. Dragon vein. Xiaohua activated the secret technique and found the location of the incomplete dragon jade. Ao Xing shouted and carried Xiaohua to a place in the Forgotten Realm. This trip was still alright. Although he fished up a few more dragons, he did not meet a freak like Ao Qin. On this day, when he saw a golden sea in front of him, Long Yu's dragon figure dove into the sea and disappeared. After a few breaths, Ao Xing's figure appeared in the ripples of space. Looking at this strange situation, he cried out, How is this possible? When did the seawater appear in the Stacked Jade Legacy realm? Could it be that the seawater was connected to the outside of Dragon Island? The Gui clan has already sent Long Yu out of the Dragon Island? Xiaohua looked at Ao Xing's appearance and said, extremely puzzled, What? Was there no seawater in the Stacked Jade Legacy realm? Isn't your Dragon Island in the sea? You don't know. Ao Xing stomped his feet, swung his dragon tail and rushed into the sea. He even shouted, Dragon Island can be in the sea, but the Stacked Jade Legacy realm can't have seawater. As for why, I don't know either. You don't have to ask me. Xiaohua smiled, looked at the rolling waves on the sea and said, There was no seawater in the past, but it doesn't mean that there isn't now, and it doesn't mean that there won't be in the future. Ao Xing flew for a few hundred li but did not see any reefs. He shouted, Damn it, could it be that the incomplete dragon jade is in the sea? With that, Ao Xing lowered his head and was about to dive into the sea. Ao Xing. Xiaohua's gaze swept across the sea and he was shocked. A layer of goosebumps uncontrollably appeared on the surface of his body as he shouted loudly. What's wrong? Ao Xing listened to Xiaohua's words and hurriedly stopped in midair. You. Xiaohua pointed at the sea and said in shock, Look at the sea. There was a dragon face inside. When Ao Xing heard this, his dragon body also trembled. He looked at the sea in disbelief. However, the sea was still turbulent. Where could he see a dragon face? Although Ao Xing did not say anything, he was secretly alert. His dragon body did not dare to delay and flew towards the sky. As he flew, he said in a low voice, Spiritual Master, what did you find just now? Shu, don't talk first. Xiaohua hurriedly said, This sea is a bit strange, let's fly out of the sea first. Alright. Ao Xing urged his dragon qi and flew straight towards the shore. However, after flying for half an hour, the promised shore did not appear. Even Ao Xing's heart began to tremble. Just when you were about to rush into the sea, Xiaohua's voice sounded in Ao Xing's ear. A huge dragon face with a strange smile opened its mouth and waited for you to fall. Ao? Ao Xing wailed like a ghost and almost knocked Xiaohua off his back. He said anxiously, "Spiritual master, if you want to speak, can you speak louder? You will scare the dragon to death if you speak like this." Xiaohua said solemnly, "I just want to tell you, don't waste your energy. This sea is an illusion. If you can't break it, even if you die of exhaustion, you won't be able to fly out." "I already knew it was an illusion," Ao Xing said angrily. "I don't need you to remind me. Now the problem is how to break this illusion. I'm flying like this. I just want to see how to fly out." Xiaohua stood on the dragon's back and looked at the seemingly endless sea. He smiled bitterly and said, "If this Xiao's magic power was still here, this illusion would not be able to stop this Xiao. Isn't it just escaping? I'm afraid that no illusion in this world can trap this Xiao. The problem is that spiritual master's magic power can't be used, right?" Ao Xing said snappily. "Could it be that other than magic power, spiritual master has no other way? Don't you humans have the best brains?" Xiaohua smiled and replied, "If it was any other array, this Xiao would have to think about how to break it, but this is an illusion array. Ao Xing, I'll let you see what this Xiao is capable of." As he spoke, Xiaohua flew up from Ao Xing's back and slapped his forehead. Gotcha! A faint green lightning flashed, and the delirium breaker eye flashed with a silver brilliance and slowly opened. See! In the delirium breaker eye, strands of golden light filled the entire space. However, in this golden light, there was another dragon that was tens of thousands of miles long that coiled below Xiaohua and Ao Xing. The huge dragon head was there with a big mouth and a sneer on its face. On the dragon head, at the edge of the two dragon horns, there was a small red dragon horn that was extremely eye-catching. Wasn't that the dragon face that Xiaohua picked up on the sea? Ao Xing, do you know which Gui race has a third small dragon horn on their head? Xiaohua's delirium breaker eye flashed silver like stars in his eyes. Xiaohua calmly asked Ao Xing. Ao Xing was shocked and shouted, "Ao Jiao. Are you talking about Ao Jiao?" "How would I know if it's Ao Jiao?" Xiaohua replied indifferently, "I'm only asking you if you know such a dragon race." "Of course I know," Ao Xing said with a trembling voice. "Ao Jiao is one of the Gui race that brought Long Yu into the folded jade legacy realm. Could it be? After so many years he still hasn't died? He actually set up an illusion array here? If it's Ao Jiao, then it's right." Hearing that, Xiaohua's heart relaxed slightly. He stared at the sea and replied, "I'm afraid Ao Jiao is already dead, but his soul is still here. Perhaps only the soul can exist in this passage of time. And this illusion is probably created by Ao Jiao's soul." "I know," Ao Xing shouted. "This is my Dragon Island's Li Hen heavenly technique. Damn it, this Ao Jiao is really vicious and merciless. This Li Hen heavenly technique has always been my Dragon Island's forbidden technique. I don't know how many years have passed, but no dragon race has been able to cultivate it. Even the profound armor pentagonal divine dragon keeps a respectful distance from this forbidden technique. Ao Jiao is really crazy." "Of course he's not crazy." Xiaohua seemed to have understood something and said in a low voice, "He's trapped in this folded jade legacy realm. What can he do in the face of the passage of time? Other than using a secret technique to cultivate into a soul, what hope does he have to survive? In this illusion, I'm afraid there are many lost dragons. Their blood essence has become the supplement of the Li Hen heavenly technique. Li Hen heavenly technique, heavenly remorse, endless regret into the sea, endless hatred into the heavens." Ao Xing scratched his ears and cheeks and shouted, "If this Li Hen heavenly technique is successfully cultivated, you can use Li Hen heavenly technique. If you don't have a great ability, you can't break it. This Ao Jiao originally had the strength of Tunri. How can the Li Hen heavenly that he set up be broken by us? Moreover, don't forget that the current Li Hen heavenly technique is Ao Jiao himself. I really don't know how to break this illusion array." "Humph, what do you know?" Xiaohua sneered. "You're doted on by Dragon Island. You haven't gone through any experience." "Who says I haven't gone through any experience?" Ao Xing shouted as if his tail had been stepped on. "The size of my Dragon Island is not something you can understand. I've been to all those dangerous places." You're wrong." Xiaohua smiled and looked at the soul of Ao Jiao who was waiting for him at his feet. "The most difficult experience is not on Dragon Island, but on the 3 continents. Do you know why Confucian cultivators have to establish a country in hidden immortal continent before they reach the 5th grade of elemental energy? That's not only to test the art of ruling a country but also to test the human heart. Moreover, it's the same for us Tao cultivators. We also have to go out to gain experience. Without experiencing the mortal world, you won't know what is called cunning, danger, flattery and waiting. Waiting? Ao Xing was slightly stunned. What kind of experience is this? Chapter 40:16. For his own survival, for the sake of exterminating the other dragons on Dragon Island. Ao Jiao had to wait. He waited for 1,000,000 years, 10,000,000 years, and finally he waited for you, the purest dragon bloodline. Perhaps. Speaking up to hear, Xiaohua suddenly thought of something and stopped. Ao Xing replied indifferently, "What wait, isn't it just patience? I can do it too. You don't know, when I was training on Dragon Island in order to wait for an opportunity, I hid among the reefs and waited for 3 whole years. That's not right." Xiaohua muttered, "Since Ao Jiao is still in the form of a soul and there's still the dragon cleansing pool in this stacked jade legacy realm, why didn't he remodel his body? How would I know?" Ao Xing was a little uncomfortable, his eyes turned and looked in another direction. Looking at Ao Xing's appearance, Xiaohua seemed to have understood something. He said coldly, "Could it be? This is still your Dragon Palace's 9th Elder's scheme? Sigh, I don't know what those old fellows are thinking." Ao Xing sighed. "But what I know is, I have never heard of a dragon's soul being able to remodel his body in the dragon cleansing pool." Boom. As if a bolt of lightning struck Xiaohua, he said in disbelief, "How is that possible? It said that your Dragon Island has a dragon cleansing pool that can remodel one's body." "That's the Buddhist sect's lotus cleansing pool, okay?" Ao Xing muttered. "It has nothing to do with my Dragon Island. However, since someone is spreading the news for my dragon clan, why wouldn't my dragon clan do it? Oh, of course, it's not that my dragon cleansing pool can't remodel one's body. It's just that until now no one knows how to remodel one's body. I was tricked by a bunch of old farts again." Xiaohua gnashed his teeth and said. Ao Xing shrugged his shoulders strangely and said with a smile, "Think about it, didn't you say everything about Dragon Palace? What did the elders say? Didn't they just follow your words? It's your wishful thinking that my dragon cleansing pool can remodel one's body. My elders also admitted it, but they didn't say how to remodel one's body. You have to rely on yourself for all the opportunities. Forget it." At this point, Xiaohua was too lazy to argue with those old farts of Dragon Island. He had to deal with the predicament in front of him first. Seeing that Xiaohua didn't ask about the Dragon Palace, Ao Xing also wiped his cold sweat. It was impossible that he didn't know of Dragon Palace's Dragon Palace's Dragon Palace of Dragon Palace. But Ao Xing of Dragon of Dragon Island, Dragon of Dragon of him. Of Ao Dragon Islands, Dragon of Dragons of Dragon Dragons of Dragon of Dragon of Dragon of Dragon. Of course. Of Dragon. However, the development of the situation was beyond Ao Xing's expectations. Xiaohua's dragon bloodline Dharma body not only had its own primordial spirit, but it could also absorb the dragon qi of other dragon tribes. Xiaohua's transcendence golden body was even stronger than the dragon tribes. Xiaohua and the dragon bloodline Dharma body were no match for Ao Xing. But how could Xiaohua and the dragon bloodline Dharma body be separated? Ao Xing had completely become Xiaohua's follower in a folded jade. He even got a share of the loot when Xiaohua attacked the dragon clan. In particular, now that he had accidentally fallen into Lihan Heaven, which was set up by Ao Jiao, Ao Xing knew very well that it was absolutely impossible for him to escape from Lihan Heaven. He could only rely on Xiaohua. If Xiaohua turned against him, he would be the first to die. Yes, immortal. It was rare for Ao Xing to lower his proud head and smile. "What do you think we should do now?" Xiaohuaji glanced at Ao Xing and replied indifferently, "Didn't I tell you just now? Wait." Yes, wait is patience. Ao Xing hurriedly replied, "But, can we compete with Ao Jiao's patience? Even if we can't, we still have to compete. Only in this way can we have a chance to find a flaw in Lihan Heaven and get out." Xiaohua thought for a moment, raised his hand and pointed in a direction. "You fly there, I will fly to the opposite side. let's see how Ao Jiao will deal with it. Immortal. Ao Xing cried bitterly, you won't leave me, a little dragon, to face an old dragon that has lived for millions of years, will you? Xiaohua rolled his eyes and replied, do you think I am that kind of person? No, definitely not. Ao Xing hurriedly smiled. Not like. That means, yes? Xiaohua asked with a smile that wasn't a smile. Ao Xing didn't want to answer anymore. He hurriedly urged his dragon body and shouted, yes, yes, I will fly there now. Well, remember, don't let the sea water touch your dragon body. Xiaohua saw this and also flew to another place. He didn't forget to remind him. Okay. Ao Xing heard Xiaohua's reminder. His originally low heart immediately came to life, and his dragon body flew 100 feet away. As Xiaohua flew, he still opened his delusion breaker Dharma eye to observe Ao Jiao's soul. The dragon head that was very clear in the delusion breaker Dharma eye was slightly blurred, and actually split into two dragon heads. One of them carried a body and rushed in the direction of Ao Xing. Its speed was 3 times faster than Ao Xing, and the other one followed closely behind. Xiaohua couldn't help but think to himself, ordinary souls will not leave any trace in my delusion breaker Dharma eye. That is to say, this Ao Jiao either used the Lihan Heaven technique or the fragments of the dragon realm to cultivate her soul to another level. This level is probably beyond the reach of Little White Dragon. The most troublesome thing is that the soul cultivator Xiaohua is now heavily injured and can't come out to fight the enemy. If the soul technique is useful, I can only rely on myself. However, fortunately I have some gains in the Forbidden Spring Sea. Although I have not comprehended the vast sea of soul technique, it can still be of some use at the critical moment. Xiaohua was thinking and flying. The huge dragon head also followed under Xiaohua's body. It was more patient than Xiaohua. After flying for a while, the distance between Ao Xing and him had already exceeded the distance when they entered Lihan Heaven, but the scene in front of Xiaohua's eyes did not change at all. Xiaohua understood that this simple distance extension would not give Ao Jiao any pressure, and it was even more impossible to find a flaw in Lihan Heaven. What should I do? Xiaohua pinched his chin. The delusion breaker Dharma eye looked at the ferocious dragon head, and the dragon eyes that seemed to be mocking him, thinking about the next step. Roar. At this moment, in the direction where Ao Xing was, a huge wave was formed, and the sea water rolled up, forming the shape of a dragon and pounced on Ao Xing. Ao Xing was shocked, and with a long roar his dragon body suddenly rose up, trying to avoid the wave. However, Ao Xing only flew out 1,000 feet, and in mid-air, there was a flash of light and layers of water ripples, like a mirror. Another sea surface was hanging upside down above Ao Xing's head. Ao Xing rushed into the air, and was about to fall into this new sea surface. And in this sea surface, Ao Jiao's 3 dragon horns revealed a ferocious smile without hiding it. Xiaohua saw that there was a change where Ao Xing was, and just as he was about to turn back, woo-woo, layers of strange wind whistled from under his feet and above his head, and with the sound of the wind, the soul of Ao Jiao, who had been hiding under the sea, suddenly rose up and pounced on Xiaohua. Moreover, as the wind whistled into the sky, the dragon patterns gradually condensed into water splashes, and these splashes connected together and a seemingly endless water surface was formed again, and under the water surface, Ao Jiao's figure also appeared. Xiaohua's delusion breaker Dharma eye had not been closed, and when he saw the faint golden lines fly out from Ao Jiao's soul, and a weak and blurry dragon shape condensed above his head, he already understood that this must be a secret technique similar to the ghost cultivator's inextricable threads. Therefore, without any hesitation, Xiaohua's delusion breaker Dharma eye flashed with a dark green brilliance, and the technique of lightning and thunder suddenly came out. Rumble. What puzzled Xiaohua was that the soul technique that did not have any effect before, was now somewhat recovered in the illusion of Lihan Heaven. As the thunder roared, not only did it disperse the dragon patterns above Xiaohua's head, it also destroyed the soul strands that were gathering. However, Xiaohua's technique of lightning and thunder was still controlled by the illusion of Lihan Heaven, and the sea water was destroyed a little, but the rest roared like the anger of Ao Jiao and rushed towards Xiaohua. Seeing that the soul technique was effective, Xiaohua hurriedly urged the soul strands, and a net-like dark green seal text flew out. Although the green seal text was very vague, it was obvious that Xiaohua had just comprehended it, but as soon as the green seal text came out, the strange sound appeared again, and layers of small whirlpools appeared out of thin air in front of the sea water. Zzzz. A violent sound rang out within a radius of several miles, and more than half of the dragon-shaped sea water controlled by Ao Jiao was destroyed again, and only about 20% of the sea water passed through Xiaohua's defense and rushed to Xiaohua's feet. Xiaohua's flying technique with the demon body was naturally not comparable to Ao Sheng's, and in a hurry he could not dodge. As soon as the sea water touched the surface of Xiaohua's body, it immediately turned into a thin red color, and quickly spread along Xiaohua's legs. The strands of red color were like tiny poisonous snakes, and in a moment, they had completely covered Xiaohua's legs. Umph! Xiaohua coldly snorted and a cluster of soul strands fell. Swoosh! Like rain washing sand, all the strands were destroyed in an instant. However, at the same time, there were still some red lights flashing between the lines on Xiaohua's skin, and it seemed like they wanted to penetrate, but as the bronze brilliance around Xiaohua's body rippled, the remaining red color also disappeared without a trace. Roar! The soul that was destroyed by the soul technique seemed to have caused Ao Jiao's pain, and a dragon roar that shook Xiaohua to the point of dizziness came from the sea water. A dragon head that was thousands of feet long surged out from the sea water, and the dragon head that was condensed from the dark green sea water was like a real dragon, exuding an indescribable dragon's might. Even as strong as Xiaohua was, his heart could not help but tremble, and a sense of powerlessness arose spontaneously. Chapter 40:17. Looking further away, Ao Xing was about to crash into the reflection of the blue sea in the sky. Fortunately, he was quick to react. With a turn of his dragon body, he flew horizontally and stopped his upward momentum. However, Ao Jiao had already made her move. Even if Ao Xing was temporarily out of danger, what could he do? Just as Xiaohua was channeling his soul technique to defend against Ao Jiao, two water dragons flew out from the blue sea in the sky. They both looked like Ao Jiao and attacked Ao Xing from both sides. What was more special was that Lihan Heaven was originally an illusion created by Ao Jiao's soul. Now between the two water dragons, there was another kind of seal that trapped Ao Xing like a giant hand. While Ao Xing was panicking, the dragon horn on top of his head shone like a crystal. This light was first restrained and Ao Xing's golden dragon horn was suddenly transparent. Strands of blood could be seen. Then a drop of golden dragon blood oozed out from the dragon horn. As soon as this drop of dragon blood came out, the dragon chi within 1,000 miles suddenly shrank and rushed towards the dragon blood. Woo-woo! The wind was so strong that it seemed like it was going to tear the entire Lihan Heaven apart. Even the two water dragons were cut into countless pieces by the hurricane. Of course, just as the pieces were formed, the water light in the water dragons flowed and the cracks disappeared. The water dragons still surrounded Ao Xing. The dragon blood flowed into the dragon chi and emitted a strange fluctuation. Then the dragon blood exploded with a bang. Thousands of dragon runes wriggled in the dragon blood and protected Ao Xing's dragon body in a few breaths of time. A layer of blood-red dragon armor was formed. Hee hee. The two water dragons sneered at the same time. Real blood armor. Ah, real blood armor. I didn't expect your blood to be so pure. The heavens are really helping me. Little kid, come over here. As they spoke, the two water dragons rushed towards Ao Xing. Ao Xing was shocked. Dragon runes rushed out from the scales all over his body, like countless flying swords dancing, trying to stop the water dragons from getting closer. Boom boom boom. The flying swords fell into the water dragons. Although the water dragons were full of holes, Ao Jiao's ecstasy did not diminish. The water dragons also healed instantly, and in less than half a cup of tea's time, they were already in front of Ao Xing. Roar! Ao Xing roared. His dragon claws slashed through the air. A sharp cold light flashed and the two water dragons were cut in half. Ao Xing's dragon tail then cut the two water dragons into 4 halves. Haha! Ao Jiao laughed, his voice roaring within 1,000 miles. In my Lihan Heaven, even Ao Jiao would be at my mercy, let alone a little kid like you. With this voice, the space around the water dragons inexplicably produced thousands of water silks. The water silks fell into the water dragons, and the two water dragons were as good as new again. They were still rushing towards Ao Xing. Ao Sheng opened his mouth and spat out a cloud of dragon breath. Several dragon runes also flew out, but the dragon runes flashed in the air for a moment and quickly dimmed. It seemed that the dragon clan's magic could not be used in Lihan heaven. Damn it! Ao Sheng cursed. His body shone again. This shimmering light began to rotate with Ao Sheng's body. Layers of void cracks appeared around Ao Sheng, forcing the water dragons to retreat. Woo! The ear-piercing sound of water once again soared into the air. The water dragon instantly grew several times in size, and then fearlessly dove into the crack in the void. Sizzle. Nearly 70% of the water dragon was swallowed by the crack in the void, but the remaining 30% passed through the crack and condensed again near Ao Sheng's body. Once the water dragons were condensed, they immediately rushed towards Ao Sheng's body to kill him. Roar. Although Ao Sheng's real blood bright armor emitted a blood-red color and blocked the fatal attack of the water dragons, the bright armor creaked as it was twisted by the water dragons. Ao Sheng, who was inside, let out a heart-wrenching scream. However, Ao Sheng also knew that he was definitely no match for Ao Jiao. If he wanted to live, he could only rely on Xiaohua. Therefore, even though dragon blood was seeping out of his body, he still ignored the water dragon's greediness and flew towards Xiaohua with all his might. The danger that Xiaohua faced was even greater than Ao Sheng's. The huge dragon head emitted a dragon's aura and rushed towards Xiaohua. The power was like a giant peak, and before it even got close, Xiaohua's body was already shaking from the impact. Xiaohua hurriedly retreated, and the green seal script appeared again between his eyebrows. The mysterious sigh sounded again, and within hundreds of miles red clouds covered the sky, lightning flashed and thunder rumbled, and waves of rain poured down like a torrential downpour. This. Ao Jiao was shocked. The falling dragon head stopped there, and an incredulous expression appeared on its transparent face. And with the washing of the rain, the dragon head that was originally condensed from seawater actually had mottled marks. The marks became bigger and bigger, like boiling water falling into a snowball, gradually melting. Hee. Xiaohua sneered. Sure enough, there is seawater in Lihan heaven, but in fact it is all your soul. If I take out rainwater out of thin air, I'm afraid it will be completely opposite to your seawater. Human race, oh human race, you are indeed smart. But where did you get the rainwater? Do you think this old man will give you a chance? Ao Jiao laughed loudly. Seeing that half of the huge dragon head had disappeared, the remaining dragon head suddenly opened its mouth. Roar! A wave visible to the naked eye rushed into the sky, and wherever the wave passed, it was like a giant hand wiping away all the red clouds. Xiaohua's art of clouds and rain was broken by Ao Jiao just like that. Damn it! Xiaohua thought to himself. This Ao Jiao's art of Lihan heaven seems to be similar to a soul technique, and his soul is incomparably tough, comparable to Ao Sheng's dragon body. It is not a big deal that my soul technique was broken by him. But if that is the case, how can I use the art of clouds and rain? This is really troublesome. Xiaohua pondered in his heart, but his movements were not slow. Just as Ao Jiao's fluctuations calmed down, Xiaohua slapped his forehead with his right hand. Wing. A violent rumbling sound was produced, and a dark green brilliance flashed, and a soul sword completely surrounded by soul threads flew out. This soul sword was not visible to the naked eye, but Ao Jiao could see it clearly. With a loud cry, Ao Jiao's dragon head suddenly dived, wanting to hide in the so-called sea, but the soul sword was like lightning. Ao Jiao had just descended 100 feet when the soul sword had already pierced Ao Jiao's dragon head. A strange space twisted and there was a burst of horrifying wailing and howling. One could even see traces of Sanskrit appearing, and the soul sword fiercely rushed into the dragon head. Moreover, the soul sword's momentum did not stop, and it continued to pierce more than 1,000 feet. Wherever the soul sword passed, Ao Jiao's soul turned into nothingness. Alas, what a pity! Xiaohua was happy at first, but when he saw that the soul sword had already pierced more than 1,000 feet, he saw that only a small part of Ao Jiao's huge dragon body was destroyed, and at the bottom of the dragon body was separated from the sea. Xiaohua also understood that he had only killed a wisp of Ao Jiao's soul, and it was impossible to completely destroy Ao Jiao. Wing. The soul sword's momentum was extinguished, and it stopped inside Ao Jiao's soul. The remaining soul began to counterattack and the soul sword let out a roar. Xiao Hua's mysterious dark clouds also surged, and an indescribable pain appeared in his mind. Not good. Xiao Hua had long known the shortcoming of the soul sword, so he had never used it easily. Today he had no choice but to use it. He had only killed a dragon's soul and it had already caused discomfort in his soul. He immediately felt a warning in his heart. Looking at Ao Jiao again, how could she not know Xiao Hua's misgivings? Between the evil grins, the previously severed connection was restored. That soul once again danced, preparing to devour Xiao Hua's soul sword. Facing such a powerful Ao Jiao, Xiao Hua's mind raced. Then his soul strands trembled and fell into the mysterious dark clouds. He grabbed Little White Dragon and dragged him out. Little White Dragon was suddenly dragged out, and it did not understand the situation at all. However, when it saw a kind of dragon's might that could suppress it to the point that it could not breathe, how could it not know that Xiao Hua was in danger? Little White roared without hesitation, and its figure flew out, pouncing towards Ao Jiao's soul. Ao Jiao was somewhat caught off guard and Little White Dragon pounced on her soul. It opened its big mouth and tore at her soul, and that dragon's claws grabbed onto her soul, tearing it apart. Whoosh! Seeing that Ao Jiao's soul was destroyed by Little White Dragon, Xiao Hua took the opportunity to retrieve his soul sword. West Sea Fire Dragon Soul? Which West Sea Dragon King's soul are you? When Ao Jiao saw Little White Dragon, he immediately felt the terrifying Fire Dragon Soul's aura within his soul, and could not help but cry out. Why would Little White Dragon answer him? He sneered and said, "Since you know that I am the West Sea Dragon King, why don't you quickly bow down and surrender?" Ah, little dragon, you indeed have the aura of a dragon king, but your bloodline is different from my Four Seas dragon race. Although it looks noble, it is not a pure dragon bloodline. How can a little dragon like you be the West Sea Dragon King? Ao Jiao seemed to be in a good mood as he laughed heartily and said, "There's a little kid with an incomparably pure bloodline from the Dragon Island over there who gave me a bloodline, and you, an unknown little dragon, gave me a dragon soul. I really don't know how I should thank you all." Humph. Xiao Hua heard from afar and sneered, "There is no need for this Xiao will give you dragon vein energy. Let's see if you have the fortune to enjoy it." While speaking, Xiao Hua slapped his forehead, and dragon vein Xiao Hua rushed out of his body, transforming into a dragon form and pouncing towards Ao Jiao's soul. Hiss! When Ao Jiao saw dragon vein Xiao Hua, his heart could not help but tremble in the face of dragon vein Xiao Hua's rock-solid dragon chi. As a soul, he could understand the power of dragon vein Xiao Hua's dragon chi better than those dragons with dragon bodies. Swish! Without waiting for dragon vein Xiao Hua to get close, a loud sound of water rang out, and a dragon head that was several times larger than before once again emerged from the surface of the sea. The dragon head's mouth was wide open, and at the three dragon horns, the scarlet dragon horns flashed a scarlet red, illuminating the entire dragon head in red. This scarlet dragon head's dragon might was even stronger, far surpassing the previous one. Waves of dragon chi condensed in the surroundings and actually gave birth to a magic treasure like jade. Chapter 40:18. Ao Jiao's means were not limited to this. With a series of splashing sounds, two more dragon heads flew out of the sea, one to replenish the soul that was previously torn apart by Little White Dragon, and the other to roll towards Xiao Hua. It's really tricky. Xiao Hua looked at Ao Xing flying in the distance, almost strangled by Ao Jiao's soul. He hurriedly urged the heavenly law embodiment technique, took out the wishful steel staff again, and waved it to rescue Ao Xing. Rumble. Although the wishful steel staff was not the real wishful steel staff and could not completely break away from the five elements, Ao Jiao's soul could still be killed by it. The wishful steel staff struck down, and Ao Jiao's soul was beaten until it was dim, and Xiao Hua was much closer to Ao Xing. Woo-woo. Just as Xiao Hua was flying, the wind blew and the clouds shook in the space behind him. The weather changed drastically. The dragon vein Xiao Hua and Ao Jiao's scarlet red soul clashed. The draconic chi collided, causing the space within 1,000 miles to become chaotic. Looking at Little White, it was even more powerful. Dragon roars resounded and claw shadows appeared one after another. Little White tore the soul that had just been born into pieces in just a moment. Moreover, Little White opened its mouth and devoured the soul fragments. If it was under normal circumstances, Little White Dragon would have already won. Unfortunately, this was Lihan Heaven, and Ao Jiao had been sacrificial refining Lihan Heaven for who knows how many days, and his soul was almost infinite. Roar. There were a few more sounds, and 3 more souls came out one after another and rushed towards Little White Dragon from 3 different places. Poof. The wishful steel staff stabbed deeply into the head of one of Ao Jiao's soul, and the soul dimmed and dissipated, falling into the sea. Looking at these fragments, Xiao Hua's heart suddenly moved, and his mind sank into the mysterious cloud, and the soul cultivator Xiao Hua was pulled out of it. Roar. Xiao Hua roared and stirred the wishful steel staff. The soul cultivator Xiao Hua took the opportunity to draw these floating soul fragments into his body. Ao Xing had already flown close and he seemed to be a little exhausted. The 2 water dragons had twisted Ao Xing's dragon body into a fried dough twist, and if it were not for Xiao Hua, Ao Xing would have been killed by Ao Jiao. At this time when Ao Xing saw Xiao Hua, he was more affectionate than when he saw the elders of the Dragon Hall, and shouted loudly, "Shinren Xiao, save me. Don't worry. This old man is coming." Xiao Hua released his secret attack and shouted anxiously. His body expanded to 100 zhong as he flew towards Ao Xing. But right at this moment, cold laughter resounded from the space around Xiao Hua, and then 3 strands of Ao Jiao's soul transformed into water dragons that flew out from the spatial rift and obstructed Xiao Hua's path. Not waiting for Xiao Hua to wave the wishful staff, the 3 separated souls surrounded Xiao Hua and swam towards Xiao Hua. Damn it! What should we do? Xiao Hua slightly opened his delusion breaker Dharma eyes and saw that although the huge dragon head was staring at Little White Dragon and Dragon Vein Xiao Hua under his feet, the dragon head was no different from before. In other words, Xiao Hua's hard work for such a long time did not cause any substantial harm to Ao Jiao. Xiao Hua, on the other hand, was in the same place as these 3 soul splits. He was complaining even more in his heart. These 3 divided souls were much more powerful than the previous ones. His wishful staff was no longer as weak as before. In the time it took to eat a meal, Xiao Hua had killed 3 divided souls. However, at the same time 3 more divided souls were born. Little White Dragon killed 5 divided souls, but at the same time 5 divided souls were still fighting with Little White Dragon. Only Dragon Vein Xiao Hua's opponent was still the red dragon head. Although the dragon head was bitten to a pulp, Dragon Vein Xiao Hua's dragon body also began to be damaged. As for Ao Xing, he was in the most dangerous situation at this time. He could no longer fly. 2 divided souls were tightly entangling him, and the true blood-bright armor on the surface of his body was damaged. Roar. Seeing that Ao Xing was in danger and that Xiao Hua could not arrive in time, Ao Xing hurriedly roared again. He opened his mouth and a fist-sized golden light flew out. Inside the golden light was a thumb-sized dragon crown. Purple dragon crown? Ao Jiao found that the dragon face instantly appeared under Ao Xing's feet. Looking at the dragon crown, she cried out in surprise, "Those damn Dragon Island, they actually gave you the purple dragon crown. They're really biased." As she spoke, the purple dragon crown had already landed between Ao Xing's dragon horns. A layer of brilliant, dazzling light purple dragon pattern appeared from the purple dragon crown, turning into a dragon robe that covered Ao Xing's dragon body. Wherever the dragon robe went, Ao Jiao's 2 divided souls screamed and turned into ashes. Even the wounds on Ao Xing's dragon body were healing at a speed visible to the naked eye. Roar. Ao Xing roared with joy. His dragon body twisted and the purple dragon crown overflowed with thousands of soaring dragon shapes. These dragon shapes brushed past Lihan Heaven, and the area that Ao Jiao imprisoned was broken. A path to the sky had already appeared in front of Ao Xing. Ao Xing moved his body, but only flew a few hundred feet before stopping again. This seemingly spoiled little dragon actually leaped and flew towards Xiao Hua. It seemed that he wanted to take Xiao Hua with him. Damn it! Ao Jiao's violent voice came from all directions. Huge heads appeared in the area that Ao Xing had rushed out from. So what if you have the purple dragon crown? I may not be able to kill you now, but I have trapped you for 1,000,000 years. However, this old man has trapped you for over 1,000,000 years. Once this old man refines the purple dragon crown, you will still be my prey. Hiss. Ao Shing took a breath and turned his head to look at the place that he wanted to fly out from. Were there not a few divided souls waiting for him to fall into their mouths? Damn it, this Ao Jiao is too powerful. Ao Shing felt a sense of powerlessness. If I didn't turn around to save Jinren Shao, I'm afraid I would have been trapped by him. He's not even afraid of the purple dragon crown? This folded jade legacy realm is indeed a fragment of the dragon realm. Only by cultivating in such a fragment of the dragon realm can one surpass the control of the purple dragon crown. Jinren. Ao Shing landed beside Xiaohua. The dragon robe around him overflowed and wanted to bring Xiaohua into it. However, Xiaohua's transcendence golden body was now quite repelling the dragon chi of the purple dragon crown. Xiaohua's eyes narrowed. The silver-white eyes of the delusion breaker eye flashed ruthlessly. After a moment, Xiaohua said, Ao Shing, is there any flaw in this Lihan heaven? Or as far as you know, is there any way to break it? Ao Shing almost cried out, Shinren. If there was any way to break it, I would have told you. In this Lihan heaven, unless your cultivation is higher than Ao Jiao's, or you have a way to completely destroy Ao Jiao's soul. What other way is there? Don't you see? Ao Jiao has merged his soul with Lihan heaven. He can transform into as many souls as he wants. His soul can appear anywhere in Lihan heaven. Jinren can't find his real soul. Of course, if Jinren has the means to find it, that's another story. However, even if Jinren finds it, how can Jinren compare with this old man's soul? Damn it, why am I so unlucky? To destroy Ao Jiao's soul, I may not be able to do it, but to find Ao Jiao's soul, I naturally have a way. Xiaohua thought for a moment. He looked at Ao Jiao's soul, which was afraid of Ao Sheng's purple dragon crown, and then looked at the dozens of water dragons surrounding the little white dragon and the dragon vein Xiaohua. They entangled the two together like how they entangled Ao Sheng. Both the little white dragon and the dragon vein Xiaohua were trapped and unable to move. Xiaohua said faintly, however, Ao Sheng, you have to swear that you will not say a word about what you saw today. Otherwise. Of course. Ao Sheng was overjoyed and shouted, I can swear to the dragon ancestor that I will never say a word about what I saw today. If I say a word, let me never find my beloved concubine. Boom. A sudden clap of thunder came out of nowhere, and a dragon-shaped phantom appeared in the thunder, giving Ao Sheng a fright. He looked at the phantom in disbelief, and his face was filled with astonishment. Make a proper dragon oath. Xiaohua looked at the shadow with boundless dragon might and said, This is a fragment of the dragon realm. Your dragon oath will be taken away by the dragon ancestor. This dragon oath is also the foundation to protect your little life. Alright. Ao Shing clenched his teeth and a drop of dragon blood flew out. Ao Shing chanted in the dragon language, Dragon ancestor above, this little dragon Ao Shing makes a dragon oath that I will never say a word about what happened today. No matter what the dragon race interrogates me, I will not say a word. If I say a word, I will immediately be stripped of my dragon blood by the dragon ancestor. I will fall into the mortal Tao and never be reincarnated. Roar. The dragon blood boiled and turned into a line of blood that fell into the dragon-shaped phantom. The dragon-shaped phantom lit up as if it was the finishing touch, and then it rushed into the void and disappeared. All right. Xiaohua nodded and ordered, Stay away from me. The divine ability that I am about to use is not something that I can control. Of course, if I am unable to kill Ao Jiao Ao Shing, you can take advantage of the chaos to escape. Ao Shing opened his mouth and wanted to say something, but seeing Xiaohua's solemn expression, he did not dare to say anything and moved away. Just as Ao Shing left, woo, the wind howled and countless water dragons with the same dragon head rushed out. Like vines, they trapped Xiaohua's transcendence golden body. As the water dragons attacked, Xiaohua's demon body showed signs of collapsing. This showed how powerful Ao Jiao was. Now all of Lihan heaven was filled with towering pillars of water. Each pillar of water was a part of Ao Jiao's soul. It was like a ghostly cultivator, and as Ao Shing said, Xiaohua would not be able to escape from Lihan heaven if he could not kill all of them at once. Wing. Xiaohua did not care about the strangulation of Ao Jiao's soul at all. He patted his forehead and there was a buzzing sound. A silver light pillar the size of a fist appeared from the delirium breaker eye. With a loud bang, it rushed into the sea below him. Woo! As soon as the light pillar touched the sea, it immediately created a silver vortex. This silver vortex rotated extremely fast and the silver color covered the sea like lightning. Chapter 40:19. Swish, swish, swish. As the silver color dyed the dozens of water dragons that were entangling Xiaohua, the little white dragon and the dragon bloodline Xiaohua, these water dragons first lost the appearance of Ao Jiao, and then disappeared into thin air. Even in a moment all the water pillars fell on the surface of the water, and they no longer looked as arrogant as before. However, the entire sea surface of Lihan Heaven still existed and did not completely disappear. Damn it, what kind of supernatural power is this? Under the silver light pillar within the vortex, Ao Jiao's face appeared. His face was full of surprise, but there was little fear. You can actually pin this old man's soul? However, how long do you think this supernatural power of yours can pin this old man? As he spoke, Ao Jiao's face began to distort. The vortex under the light pillar also began to reverse, and the silver color that was previously all over the sea surface gradually retreated. Even in Xiaohua's delusion breaker Dharma eye, the silver eyes began to flicker. Even the delusion breaker Dharma eye could not control Ao Jiao's supernatural power. Just at that moment an angry roar came from Xiaohua's mouth. Shortly after, Xiaohua abruptly raised his left hand. Woo! A pitch-black light flashed and the moan of an ancient demonic creature was heard. Along with that moan, the bronze light around Xiaohua's body instantly disappeared and was replaced by pitch-black flames and crimson blood. The flames were even darker than the demonic flames from before. It was like a sparkling and translucent crystal. In particular, there were tens of thousands of tiny threads, and within those threads were countless malevolent demonic creatures that were baring their fangs and brandishing their claws, wanting to pounce out. With the birth of the flame and the crimson color, a demon armor appeared on the surface of Xiaohua's body. This demon armor was also filled with crimson and demons, and a kind of power that could swallow the heavens and the earth continuously gushed out. Not only that, at this moment around Xiaohua's body, a layer of several inches of space had been burned out by the dense flames. This space was collapsing at an extremely fast speed, and not a single ray of light was able to escape. One after another, indescribable demonic creatures flowed out from within the space. These demonic creatures flowed into a hexagonal region behind the demon god Xiaohua's head, and then flowed out from within the hexagonal region. At this moment the hexagonal region was merely an outline, but that outline distorted the nearby space, making it impossible for the naked eye to see through it. You. Ao Jiao did not know what to say in the face of such a strange change. His soul had survived in the fragment of the dragon realm for so long, and this was the first time that absolute fear appeared in his heart. The aura emitted by this terrifying flame was not inferior to the dragon chi in the realm of the folded jade. Ao Jiao looked at the demon god Xiaohua's face that was covered by a layer of demon armor. The two blood-red eyes were filled with bloodlust, and complemented the ruthlessness of the silver-white eyes. Ao Jiao's heart panicked and hurriedly wanted to abandon the silver-white pillar of light and escape, but the silver-white pillar of light was like a nail that nailed Ao Jiao's soul. No matter how Ao Jiao moved, he could not break free. Who? The demon god Xiaohua did not give Ao Jiao any chance to struggle. With a wave of his left hand, the demon blade appeared, and the entire Lihan Heaven's celestial phenomenon changed. From the void around the demon god Xiaohua's body, countless tiny black threads flew out. These black threads carried with them a thick flame and crimson color, and instantly covered the entire Lihan Heaven. Even Ao Xing, who was far away, was surrounded. Poor Ao Xing was like a child who had a nightmare. He tightly curled into a ball and looked at the demon god Xiaohua in horror. The demon god's murderous aura seemed to be able to strangle Ao Xing at any time. He also finally understood why Xiaohua must make him swear a dragon oath. Damn it! Ao Jiao cursed angrily. Purple chi appeared at the dragon's head. As soon as this purple chi appeared, the dragon's head instantly shrank. However, this purple chi actually held up the pillar of light of the delirium breaker Dharma eye, and the dragon's head took the opportunity to escape. Even when the dragon's head just left the vortex controlled by the silver-white pillar of light, it immediately divided into countless tiny dragon souls and swam in all directions. The demon god Xiaohua saw it clearly through the delirium breaker Dharma eye. The demon blade in his left hand chopped down and a faint black light flashed. Not only was Ao Jiao's soul split in half, but the endless dragon souls that were born were also split in half. However, the strange thing was that after all the souls were split, they only paused for a moment. Then, ha! Big and small laughter could not be suppressed in the whole Lihan heaven. All the souls were active again. Even Ao Jiao's main soul was split into two, twisting arrogantly. Woo! Just when Ao Jiao felt that she had escaped the fatal blow of the demon blade and wanted to counterattack again, the demon blade roared and turned into a demon dragon. It rushed out from Xiaohua's hand and flew towards one of Ao Jiao's main souls. At the same time, at the edge of all the souls that were split by the demon blade, strands of black silk appeared strangely. With the appearance of these black silk, the demon flames that were previously all over Lihan heaven suddenly turned into hundreds of millions of demons, madly pouncing on Ao Jiao's soul and the seemingly endless sea. The soul cultivator Xiaohua that Xiaohua had sent to the sea surface earlier, now also quietly appeared. Just like an ear-piercing sound, it was attached to another soul of Ao Jiao. The soul cultivator Xiaohua's soul silk was even denser than the black silk and wrapped around Ao Jiao's main soul. The soul silk tore and devoured the soul strands. The image of the soul cultivator Xiaohua was becoming clearer little by little. Roar! Half of Ao Jiao's main soul was fighting with the demon dragon. The other half roared madly, resisting the demon formed by the black silk and the soul cultivator Xiaohua. In the distance, little white dragon and dragon vein Xiaohua roared at the same time. They separately pounced over and attacked the other half of Ao Jiao's main soul. Ao Jiao's Lihan heaven was formed by her soul. In this kind of illusion that was comparable to an enchantment, Ao Jiao was almost invincible, not to mention being killed by others. Any trace of his soul could be turned into the future Ao Jiao. This was similar to the ghost cultivator Huang Yi's inextricable links on that day. Moreover, Ao Jiao cultivated Lihan heaven in this fragment of the dragon realm. It was far more advanced than the dragon chi of the dragon island. Even if the ninth elder of the dragon island came, he may not be able to escape from this Lihan heaven, let alone kill Ao Jiao's soul. However, he was unlucky to encounter Xiaohua. The demon god Xiaohua's blood drop paradise had undergone the tempering of the fluctuations in the blood pool of the gods and devils. It had already undergone a qualitative improvement. Moreover, the demon blade had suppressed countless demons. These demons were the incarnations of the demon dragon, which was just enough to restrain Ao Jiao's thousands of divided souls. Now, even if Ao Jiao wanted to split a trace of her soul to escape, it was not realistic. Roar! Demon god Xiaohua saw that they were evenly matched. He roared and pounced forward. With a wave of his hands, a not-so-successful blood drop paradise trapped the other half of Ao Jiao's main soul. Layers of black flames and layers of blood light alternately burned and attacked. The soul was cut off piece by piece. The whole world was fighting, endless devouring. The demon chi chased after the soul and the soul fought against the demon chi. In the demon chi, Ao Shing looked at the distant demon dragon and demon god Xiaohua enviously as they devoured Ao Jiao's soul. To be able to cultivate Lihan heaven's soul, how could ordinary souls compare? It was rare in the world. If he used the secret technique of the dragon clan to devour some, it would definitely be of immeasurable value to Ao Shing's future cultivation. Unfortunately, Ao Shing did not dare to get close. When the demonic saber was waved, the saber's blade also stopped in front of Ao Shing for a moment. Although he was protected by the purple dragon crown, Ao Shing could already smell the blood in the demonic saber's blade. The incomparably pure blood in his body froze at that moment. He was afraid that Xiaohua had forgotten that he had already made a dragon oath. Fortunately, the demon blade flashed away, and Ao Shing felt that he had returned to the human world from the underworld. Therefore, he now only hoped that Xiaohua could devour Ao Jiao's soul, so that he could get rid of this feeling of fear. Unfortunately, things did not always go according to one's wishes, even if it was a small elder of the Dragon Island. The devouring of the entire Lihan heaven lasted for dozens of days. The battle within was not known to outsiders. Ao Sheng himself was in Lihan heaven and did not know the specific situation. He only saw that the demon qi in the space was either rich or thin, and the sea blue color was also changing with the thinness of the demon qi. However, in the end the demon dragon devoured half of Ao Jiao's main soul, rushed to the left hand of the demon god Xiao Hua and disappeared. The entire Lihan heaven was completely filled with demon qi. Roar. As the demon god Xiao Hua roared to the sky, all the demon qi rapidly rolled back like thousands of streams returning to the origin, and disappeared into the blood-red armor of the demon god Xiao Hua. When the armor slowly disappeared into the surface of Xiao Hua's body, the soul cultivator Xiao Hua, who seemed to be nearly 100 feet tall, flashed into the mysterious dark clouds in the demon qi. The little white dragon and the dragon vein Xiao Hua also shook their heads and wagged their tails, and returned very comfortably. In the end, the demon god Xiao Hua withdrew the blood drop cave, revealing a plain thousands of miles in size. The endless dragon qi set off a gust of wind from all directions, blowing the dust into the air. Ah! The demon god Xiao Hua groaned in a low voice. All the demon qi and the demon armor disappeared, and Xiao Hua's body also shrank. Pa! Xiao Hua fell out of the sky, smashing into a huge rock on the ground. Jinren Xiao. Ao Sheng was like a fish in water, wantonly for a moment in the dragon qi. Seeing Xiao Hua's body fall, he flew closer for a moment in fear, but then he looked into the distance again as if thinking about something. However, in just a few breaths he made the wisest choice. He flew in front of Xiao Hua and said anxiously, Jinren Xiao, yes? Following Ao Sheng's call, Xiao Hua opened his eyes. A touch of blood mixed with a wisp of cold light flashed in Xiao Hua's eyes. Even Ao Sheng's heart skipped a beat, and his dragon body trembled slightly. Xiao Hua stood up, closed his eyes for a moment and sighed, alas! I am a little further away from the mortal world. Jinren Zhao's cultivation has increased again? Ao Sheng said with a flattering smile, then I must congratulate Jinren Zhao. What cultivation? Xiao Hua shook his head. Although this Zhao's demonic secret technique is extremely powerful, I do not dare to use it lightly. Because every time I use it, some of my emotions will be taken away. Over time, this Zhao will become a demonic creature that only knows how to kill. At that time, under that blade, although I can kill Ao Jiao immediately, you will also be killed by this Zhao. Chapter 40-20. Yes, it's better if Taoist doesn't use such a powerful secret technique. Ao Sheng shrunk his neck and smiled. At the same time, I also thank Taoist for sacrificing himself to save me. Xiao Hua looked coldly at Ao Sheng as if he still hadn't escaped from the devil's realm and said, you only need to remember your dragon oath, don't say anything else. Yes, Xiaolong understands. Ao Sheng replied obediently. Then Xiao Hua took out a yin-yang bracelet and handed it to Ao Sheng saying, go, collect all the stones here. Stones? What does Taoist want them for? Ao Sheng was a little confused. Xiao Hua didn't answer. He also took out a yin-yang pouch, flew towards a place and used his body and mind to collect the stones. Alright. Ao Sheng heaved a sigh of relief when he saw Xiao Hua starting to collect the boulders and reverting back to his greedy self. He looked at the seemingly endless plains and released his essence force to collect the boulders as well. After collecting all the stones, Ao Sheng returned the yin-yang bracelet to Xiao Hua and probed, Taoist, do you have news of Long Yu? Not only do I have news of Long Yu, I also have news of the Crystal Dragon scripture. Xiao Hua looked at Ao Sheng and replied with a smile that wasn't a smile. Ao Sheng's body shook and he hurriedly asked, then, where is the Crystal Dragon scripture? Don't you think you should tell me the use of the Crystal Dragon scripture first? Xiao Hua rolled his eyes and chuckled. Ao Sheng sighed and said with a smile, Taoist, don't tease me. Since Taoist has already swallowed Ao Jiao's soul, how can you not know the use of the Crystal Dragon scripture? You're wrong. Xiao Hua replied, Ao Jiao doesn't know the use of the Crystal Dragon scripture, it's also not here. Where is the Crystal Dragon scripture? Ao Sheng asked. Tell me first, what is the use of the Crystal Dragon scripture? Ao Sheng smiled bitterly. Taoist Xiao, it's not that I don't want to tell you, but I don't know what the Crystal Dragon scripture is for. The elders only told me that the crystal dragon scripture was brought into the stacked jade legacy realm with Long Yu and other things. If you find Long Yu, you can find the crystal dragon scripture. I really don't know anything else. Xiao Hua stared at Ao Xing for a moment, and Ao Xing didn't dare to shift his gaze away. After a moment, Xiao Hua nodded and said, "This old man will believe you. Since the crystal dragon scripture was taken by Ao Yi and separated from the dragon jade, the crystal dragon scripture must be extremely important." Ao Yi? When Ao Xing heard this name, he was even more scared than if he had seen a ghost. He exclaimed, He can't be alive too. Damn it, no, he can't have also cultivated Li in heaven, right? Xiao Hua shrugged, shook his head and said, "I don't know about this." There was no more information in Ao Jiao's memory. However, it seems like only Ao Jiao has this hatred heavenly skill. Ao Yi doesn't. How is this possible? Ao Xing exclaimed. Ao Yi is the patriarch of the Ji clan and the 10th elder of the Dragon Hall. How could he not have it? However, after Ao Xing finished speaking, he immediately covered his mouth as he realized that he had revealed something. As if he didn't hear anything, Xiao Hua flew up and searched around with his Yuan Shen. Ao Xing hurriedly flew up. He didn't dare to disturb Xiao Hua and only followed closely behind. After half a day they came to an extremely ordinary place. Xiao Hua squinted his eyes and looked around. After thinking for a moment, he raised his hand and pointed. "Come here, use your dragon breath to perform the soaring dragon technique." All right. Ao Xing didn't dare to delay. He flew over, opened his mouth and spat out a dragon breath. Then ripples appeared around his dragon horn and the dragon breath turned into a faint dragon in the ripples. Go. Following Ao Xing's soft command, the dragon rushed to the sky like a cloud. However, just as it rushed out a few feet, a strange barrier blocked the dragon. The dragon's body paused for a moment and actually drilled into the barrier. Roar. A strange sound came from inside the barrier. An invisible wisp of Ao Jiao's soul flew out from the barrier and seemed to be trying to escape. Before Ao Xing could do anything, the delusion breaker Dharma eye in Xiao Hua's forehead opened again. The silver-white light beam fell on the place where the dragon disappeared. The wisp of Ao Jiao's soul flew around fiercely, but in the end, it couldn't escape the control of the light beam. As the light beam stirred, it fell into it and disappeared in an instant. Following the disappearance of the last wisp of Ao Jiao's soul, swoosh! As if a layer of color was cut off from the sky, Long Yu's head appeared in the sky. This Long Yu's dragon head looked very ordinary, similar to the one in Xiao Hua's space. In between the dragon head's eyebrows, there was a strange rune. It was somewhat different from the dragon rune, but it was also somewhat similar in shape. It looked very eye-catching. Ao Xing only saw Long Yu's shadow, he didn't even see the rune clearly. Xiao Hua's mind rolled and Long Yu's head fell into his space. Taoist. Ao Xing hesitated for a moment and mumbled, "You must remember what you said earlier. After leaving the stacked jade legacy realm, you must give Long Yu to me. Otherwise I won't be able to report back." "Can't you use the crystal dragon seal?" Xiao Hua smiled and said, "If it wasn't for this old man, I'm afraid you would have lost your life here." "Aye, that's right." Ao Xing sighed and said, "I also think so. Of course, I know the truth of the matter, but the elders don't think so. They wholeheartedly want to take Long Yu and the crystal dragon seal back. Unless Taoist wants to fall out with my dragon island, otherwise there is nothing to discuss. However, I feel that Taoist's future is limitless. There is no need to provoke Dragon Island now." Hee hee. Xiao Hua looked at Ao Xing and said, "This old man was somewhat negligent. I should have let you make a bigger dragon oath earlier." Looking at Xiao Hua's gaze, Ao Xing felt his hair stand on end. He hurriedly said with a smile, "Of course, I will also talk to the elders and ask them to give Taoist some more time to comprehend." Xiao Hua nodded and asked again, "The time in the stacked jade legacy realm is somewhat different from Dragon Island, right? And although when the stacked jade legacy realm opens, the time here will tend to be the same as Dragon Island. However, the time here will ultimately be faster than Dragon Island. I have been waiting here for dozens of days. Maybe only dozens of days have passed on Dragon Island." Ao Xing explained, "And when the stacked jade legacy realm closes, the time here will accelerate again." Xiao Hua squinted his eyes and asked probingly, If this old man comprehends the dragon jade in the stacked jade legacy realm, will it take less time than on Dragon Island? When Ao Xing heard, he couldn't help but complain in his heart. However, he didn't dare to hesitate and hurriedly said with a smile, Taoist, for our training this time, other than the dragon jade, the most important thing is the crystal dragon scripture. Since you are here comprehending the dragon jade, what should we do with the crystal dragon scripture? Xiaohua laughed loudly and said, Ao Xing, this old man's goal is the dragon jade. What is the crystal dragon scripture? What does it do? This old man never knew about it. Taoist, you can't be like this, right? Ao Xing, other than you, do the other dragons on Dragon Island also have a mission to find the crystal dragon scripture? Yes, the 9 clans of Dragon Island. Each clan will send 20 dragons to specifically search for the crystal dragon scripture. Ao Xing no longer concealed and nodded his head as he answered. Isn't that the case? Xiaohua smiled. Other than you, there are still 179 dragons looking for the crystal dragon scripture. One more you doesn't count, one less you don't count. Why don't you cultivate here with this old man? Ao Xing thought for a moment and said in a low voice, Taoist Xiao, if you don't want to search for the crystal dragon scripture, that's fine too. Can you tell me where the crystal dragon scripture is? I'm going to search for the crystal dragon scripture? Xiaohua looked at Ao Xing's helpless expression and advised. Actually, Ao Jiao only knows that Ao Qin went to a place called Deep Uryin. Furthermore, the scenery in this stacked jade legacy realm will change at any time. It has been so many years, who knows where Deep Uryin is? Of course, if you know, you can go by yourself. Deeper Yuan? Ao Xing frowned and said, I have heard of this name before. Seems to be a dangerous place in the stacked jade legacy realm. Since Taoist doesn't want to go, then I will go and search for it first. If I can find it, then I will turn back. At that time, I hope that Taoist can help me. What does Taoist think? The current Ao Xing seemed to have matured a lot. He was extremely different from the Ao Xing that Xiaohua saw at the edge of Dragon Island. Xiaohua looked at Ao Xing and then looked around. He nodded and said, All right. You and I will each take half a step back. You go and search for that deeper yin. I will meditate here. If you find it, you can come back and look for me. However, I am afraid that the scenery in the stacked jade legacy realm will change again soon. You have to hurry over before it changes. Many thanks for Taoist's help. Ao Xing smiled and said, As for the problem of returning, this is not something that Taoist needs to worry about. My Dragon Island knows about the various changes in the stacked jade legacy realm and already have countermeasures. Even if Taoist went somewhere else, I will still be able to find Taoist. Looks like you've already prepared for this. Xiaohua replied meaningfully. Ao Xing naturally understood Xiaohua's meaning. Xiaohua was saying that he could easily find Deep Uryin. He didn't say anything more. He swayed his dragon tail and flew into the air. He nodded towards Xiaohua and flew towards a direction. After Ao Xing flew far away, Xiaohua released his yuan sense. After seeing that there was nothing strange in the surroundings, he flew to a hidden place and used the wishful rod to dig a small cave. He drilled in and sealed the cave with crushed stones. After sitting down cross-legged, his mind hastily entered the space. In the space, the complete dragon jade had already fused into one and turned into a sparkling and translucent dragon shape. This dragon shape had a multicolored luster overflowing. A kind of holiness was faintly born from the dragon's head. This holiness was so bizarre. Seemed to be different from everything in Dragon Island. Xiaohua squinted his eyes and looked at the jade archive for a moment. He raised his hand and pointed at the strange rune on the dragon jade. Roar. An extremely loud dragon roar came from the rune. Then an extremely powerful dragon might gushed out from the dragon jade, as if it wanted to kill Xiaohua. Xiaohua was not anxious at all. He raised his hand and grabbed slightly. The space where the dragon jade was located was immediately sealed. All the dragon might disappeared without a trace. Chapter 40-21. This is strange. After Jade Archive, Xiaohua looked at the dragon jade. He noticed that the dragon jade had calmed down. There was no change and the complete dragon transformation art did not appear. He could not help but be surprised. Previously I could easily see the dragon transformation art. Why is it not possible this time? Oh, could it be that it also needs dragon blood? Jade Archive Xiaohua pondered for a moment. He raised his hand and took out a drop of dragon blood from the dragon's corpse that was previously stored in the space. The drop of dragon blood fell into the rune. The rune melted and decomposed in the dragon blood. In the end, tens of thousands of dragon runes gushed out from the dragon blood like a swarm of ants falling into the dragon jade. Then the entire Longyu shone with a five-colored brilliance. Halos of light wrapped around the Longyu's body, and like a bamboo, the Longyu was divided into 6 parts. When the brilliance began to calm down, Jade Archive Xiaohua raised his hand and pointed a finger at the tail of the dragon jade. Buzz. The dragon jade issued a rumbling sound. More dragon runes than before turned into strands of crystal light and fell into Jade Archive Xiaohua's hand. Moreover, as the number of crystal light increased, Jade Archive Xiaohua's figure gradually changed. In the end, it also turned into the image of a huge dragon. However, this huge dragon's eyes were tightly closed. A halo appeared on its scales, resonating with the flickering of the dragon jade. After an unknown amount of time, the dragon shape shook and Jade Archive Xiaohua's figure appeared within the dragon shape. Longyu's halo also retracted. The runes that had disappeared appeared once again as the light rushed into the dragon head. Hee. Jade Archive Xiaohua opened his eyes. There was a trace of ecstasy on his face. No wonder Ao Jiao wanted to take this dragon jade away from Dragon Island. This dragon jade actually concealed a mystery. Not only does it have the dragon transformation art that I wanted, it also has the inheritance of Dragon Island's heavenly dragon language technique. This is strange. This heavenly dragon language technique. Why didn't it pass down through the bloodline of the dragon clan? Why did it pass down through this dragon jade? Moreover, this dragon transformation art is actually not a secret technique for demon beasts to cultivate into dragons. In the inheritance of Dragon Island's dragon clan, there is a method to mold the body in the dragon cleansing pool. However, since this method can mold the body, it can also be used to temper the body. Especially for demon beasts like Little White Dragon, whose original form is a python, it can use the dragon transformation art to cultivate and evolve into a dragon. As such, it became the so-called dragon transformation art. Ao Jiao only has the first half of Longyu's body. Without the complete dragonization incantation, it's impossible for him to reconstruct his body in the dragon cleansing pool. Damn it, so the dragon cleansing pool wasn't what I thought it would be. The Little White Dragon's body would be molded as soon as it entered. However, Little White Dragon was already able to transform from a python into a dragon, completing all 9 levels of the dragonization incantation. Now all that's left is just a few crucial parts. He only needs to cultivate a little more. Thinking of this, Jade Archive Xiaohua flashed into the mysterious dark clouds. Seeing Jade Archive Xiaohua appear, the Little White Dragon hurriedly asked, "Xiaohua, where are you now? I feel that the draconic energy here is too dense. What's up with the soul that you and I devoured? My soul seems to be undergoing some inexplicable changes." This is the Dragon Island's stacked Jade Legacy realm. The Jade Archive Xiaohua explained the ins and outs of the matter. The dragon cleansing pool that can remodel your body is here. However, if you want to remodel your body, you must first cultivate the complete dragonization art. Of course. The Little White Dragon smiled and said, "Isn't my dragonization art complete?" Speaking of this, the Little White Dragon came to a realization. Could it be? My dragonization art isn't complete? I still can't remodel my body? What should I do? The dragon race can't be compared to our human race. Similarly, it can't be compared to your original body. Jade Archive Xiaohua explained, the dragon body is very mysterious. Not only can it absorb the power of the stars and moon, it can also absorb draconic energy. The dragon race even has the heavenly dragon technique. Therefore, the remodel of the dragon body isn't as simple as we thought. It requires a special method to successfully remodel it. And this method is the dragonization art. Xiaohua, could it be that you found the last piece of the dragon jade? The Little White Dragon finally understood and said in surprise. That's right. Jade Archive Xiaohua extended his index finger, and like a cold star, it landed between the Little White Dragon's eyebrows. It was also the place where the rune of the dragon jade was located. Boom. The Little White Dragon felt one rune after another rushing into his mind. He didn't dare to be negligent and hurriedly coiled his body to carefully comprehend it. Jade Archive Xiaohua withdrew his index finger and looked at the little white dragon's soul. He nodded slightly and looked at Soul Cultivator Xiaohua inside the soul formation sky. At this time Soul Cultivator Xiaohua looked a little strange. His whole body was several times bigger than before. In addition to his original appearance, there were also scales on his skin. These scales were faintly discernible and there were also thousands of dragon patterns. Above Soul Cultivator Xiaohua's closed eyes, there were even 2 phantoms that looked like dragon horns. It seems that eating too much dragon soul also has its disadvantages. I'm afraid this dragon image won't disappear in a short time. Jade Archive Xiaohua smiled and flashed out of the mysterious cloud. He shouted, "Where is fellow Taoist dragon bloodline?" "Many thanks, fellow Taoist." Dragon bloodline Xiaohua's figure appeared, his face filled with ecstasy. "I have a place to cultivate in the future. This dragon Jade not only has the dragon transformation art, but also so many heavenly dragon technique and other dragon clan techniques. This time we have really hit the jackpot." Fellow Taoist should quickly comprehend the dragon transformation art. Jade Archive Xiaohua smiled proudly. If there is a chance, fellow Taoist should also follow the little white dragon's body molding. Okay. Dragon bloodline Xiaohua agreed and his figure disappeared. Jade Archive Xiaohua returned to the space and instructed the green-robed Xiaohua a few words. He was preparing to help the green-robed Xiaohua comprehend the dragon transformation secret art with him. Suddenly, Jade Archive Xiaohua's expression changed and he immediately escaped from the space. Woo! Outside the space, inside the stacked Jade Heritage Realm, the wind howled like a tiger. Another round of scenery began to change. Xiaohua's figure swayed along with the cave in the air. Really troublesome. Xiaohua stabilized his figure and didn't know whether to laugh or cry. This Xiao has just adapted to the appearance of the stacked Jade Heritage Realm and now I have to start again. Who knows what the scenery will be like after this? At this time, the gravel in front of the cave had already been blown away by the wind without a trace. Xiaohua hid in the cave and looked at the scenery outside that was as gorgeous as a layer of dusk. Inside not only were there mountain ridges shifting, there were also many dragons struggling. After several hours the changes in the scenery began to slow down. Boom! Xiaohua's figure shook and the mountain range also fell. It's finally over. Xiaohua smiled. Now I can cultivate in peace for a while. Unfortunately, just as Xiaohua closed his eyes, woo! Outside the cave the sound of wind rose again. Then with a loud boom, something hit the mountain range not far from Xiaohua. In these several hours, there were indeed many things that collided with the mountain range, but this time was different. A low groan sounded from that place and then, a spiritual sense similar to an elemental thought swept through the cave and landed on Xiaohua's body. A faint human voice sounded in Xiaohua's ear. Xiaohua smiled bitterly. At this time it was already too late for him to hide anything. After thinking for a while he simply walked out of the cave and looked up. The scenery outside the cave had completely changed. A tall man with a full beard was wearing armor and holding a long spear in his hand. He was standing on top of a mountain rock not far away in astonishment. This man's armor was already abnormally damaged. There were many bloodstains on the armor and there was even a bloody wound on the man's neck. Xiaohua Taoist Master Xiao? When the man saw Xiaohua, he recognized him at a glance and asked curiously, "Why are you hiding in the cave?" Xiaohua smiled and said, "This stacked Jade Heritage Realm is full of slaughter. And this Xiao's Dharma body is the delicious food of those dragons. This Xiao is not a descendant of the dragons. Coming to this stacked Jade Heritage Realm to train is just a coincidence, and I don't plan to gain anything from this training. Therefore this Xiao simply found a place to hide and when the time comes to train I'll just follow you out. So that's how it is." When the man heard this he said somewhat enviously, "Taoist Master's calm heart actually makes this one jealous. This one risked my life to enter the Dragon Island to train, just to obtain some of the ancient dragon's legacy. Now that I'm in the stacked Jade Heritage Realm, I clearly know that I'm the prey of others, but I can't help but be greedy for some things. Oh Taoist Master Xiao, this one is Jing Province's Ao Feng Ping. Previously I saw Taoist Master in the Dragon Chi territory. Oh, so it's Jing Province's Taoist AO. Xiaohua cupped his hands and said with a smile, "This one wishes Taoist AO victory in advance and success on the spot." When AO Fengping heard this, he hurriedly waved his hand. He lowered his head to look at his appearance and said with a bitter smile, "Taoist master must be joking. Look at this one's sorry state. Just now this one was sneak attacked by a cunning dragon. If it wasn't for this change in scenery, I'm afraid I would have already fallen into the dragon's stomach. But now even if this one dodged the sneak attack, his injuries are quite heavy." Xiaohua nodded. "Since it's like this, Taoist AO can heal his injuries here. This one can protect Taoist AO." When AO Fengping heard this, his eyebrows raised in joy and he said with a smile, "Then I'll have to trouble Taoist master." As he spoke, AO Fengping took out a box of medicine from his bosom and consumed it. Immediately, clouds gushed out from his body, and wisps of awe-inspiring aura inexplicably gushed out, covering the surface of AO Fengping's body. This is actually a bit strange. Seeing that AO Fengping was actually able to use the Confucian cultivation technique in the stacked jade heritage realm, Xiaohua was a bit bewildered. How can he use the Confucian cultivation technique? After a full 2 hours, AO Fengping finally withdrew his true qi, and then took out another set of armor to change into. "Alright, Taoist AO." Xiaohua cupped his hands again. "Since your injuries have already healed, this one will return to hide." "Taoist master," AO Fengping hurriedly said, "this one has something to say, but I don't know if I should say it or not." If AO Xing had said so, Xiaohua would have directly replied with, "Since you don't know, then don't say it." But looking at AO Fengping's sincerity and thinking that they were both in the stacked jade heritage realm, he still nodded and said, "Taoist AO, please speak. This one is all ears." Chapter 40-22. Taoist Master Xiao, I want to say 2 things. AO Fengping softly said, "First, the stacked jade legacy realm is not like the other places on Dragon Island. This is a fragment of the dragon domain. There are countless treasures inside. If Taoist Master can find one, it will definitely have a significant effect on your future cultivation." Taoist Master entered the legacy realm and actually hid in this mountain range to cultivate. Isn't this the so-called entering a treasure mountain and returning empty-handed? If Taoist Master regrets in the future, you won't have this kind of opportunity again. Then what about the second? Xiaohua asked thoughtfully. Second, in this stacked jade legacy realm, our human cultivators have become food for the dragons. Taoist Master's cultivation is extraordinary. How can you watch so many humans being eaten by the dragons? Taoist Master is a cultivator of the Tao sect. If you don't take this opportunity to form a relationship with the descendants of the dragons, when will you? The descendants of the dragons are also a force that can't be ignored in the hidden immortal continent. In the future. In fact, there is no need to wait for the future. Taoist Master's current strength is already intolerable by the immortal palace. If Taoist Master doesn't want to be killed by the immortal palace, forming a relationship with the descendants of the dragons is a bright path. If I form a good relationship with Dragon Island, wouldn't it be more beneficial for me to fight against the immortal palace? Xiaohua asked back. Taoist Master is looking down on Dragon Island too much. AO Fengping laughed. Dragon Island has always only cared about the dragons of the 9 clans on the island. They don't even care about the dragon palace of the 4 seas, let alone us descendants of the dragons. As for forming a relationship with Taoist Master, it is only a joke in their eyes. That day when Taoist Master revealed his dragon body in the Dragon Chi realm, they thought of using Taoist Master. This kind of scheme Taoist Master doesn't know. Then what does fellow immortal AO mean? Xiaohua asked with a smile that was not a smile. AO Fengping replied, I have made an appointment with some fellow immortal to go to a certain place in the legacy realm. If Taoist Master can please follow me. With my strength, I'm afraid I can't reach there safely. With Taoist Master's help, I have confidence. You actually know the place in the stacked jade legacy realm? Xiaohua was a bit surprised. And you have a relationship with some fellow immortal? Could it be that you have already planned it? Hee. AO Fengping smiled proudly. Since we are descendants of the dragons, we naturally have our secrets. The stacked jadeite legacy realm is the most important part of the Dragon Island. We naturally know some of the secrets inside. Don't worry, Taoist Master. We're all cultivators of the human race. There's something vital to the cultivation of the human race there. If Taoist Master can help us, we definitely won't disappoint you. Can you tell this Xiao what it is and where it is? Xiaohua probed. Ao Feng Ping hesitated for a moment. Then he shook his head and said, This? I'm afraid I can't casually tell you this. When Xiaohua heard this, he shook his head even more. Then why would I go? The dragon qi here is very rich. Even if this Xiao casually cultivates a bit, it will still be stronger than outside. This Xiao will not do things that I have no confidence in. Alright. Ao Fengping thought for a moment and said, I can tell you the name of that place, but I can't tell you what it is. Xiaohua asked, Where? Deepering. Ao Fengping immediately replied. Xiaohua's body shook violently. He swept a glance at Ao Fengping and asked curiously, Why did you go to that place? Well, forget it. Pretend I didn't ask. Then Xiaohua pondered for a moment. He pinched his chin and bargained with a smile that wasn't a smile. If you tell this Xiao the secret to activating the true qi of a Confucian cultivator in the folded jade legacy realm, this Xiao can consider it. Ao Fengping didn't know whether to laugh or cry. He looked at Xiaohua and said, Taoist Master, what do you want that Confucian cultivator's secret technique for? That thing can only be activated by Confucian cultivators with dragon qi. You're a Taoist cultivator. That secret technique is useless to you. This Xiao also understands Confucian cultivators. Xiaohua said with a smile. If you tell this secret technique to this Xiao will have another magical ability to help you. Isn't this what you need? Ah. Ao Fengping was surprised but also overjoyed. He hurriedly took out a jade eye and respectfully handed it to Xiaohua. Taoist Master is really amazing. You're actually a Confucian cultivator. My previous words were rude. Don't worry. Xiaohua took the jade eye and placed it on his forehead. He looked at it while waving his hand. Ao Fengping smiled. He was puzzled again. Since Taoist Master is a Confucian cultivator, even if you have some outstanding Taoist cultivation, the Immortal Palace won't force you like this, right? Now that Taoist Master and the Immortal Palace are in a terrible situation, I'm afraid it won't be easy to deal with them in the future. Alas, this matter is hard to explain in a few words. Let's not talk about it. Xiaohua sighed. He looked around and said, Since we're going, we'll leave now. You lead the way. The Xiao will study this jade eye for a while. Taoist Master doesn't need to be anxious. Ao Fengping said with a smile. There are some other secret techniques in this jade eye. Taoist Master should take a look. Okay. Xiaohua said. He gave the jade eye to Xiaohua and asked again, Right, the scenery in the folded jade legacy realm has completely changed. How can you find the location of Deep Air Lake? Ao Fengping's figure flew up. It was actually a Confucian cultivator's flying technique. He smiled mysteriously. This is of course a little secret of us dragon race descendants. Although the strength of the human race can't be compared to the dragon race can't compare with their brains. Xiaohua smiled. He thought to himself, Ao Xing is a small clan elder of this dragon island. Even he can't be sure that he can find Deep Air Lake. Ao Fengping, a human outside of this dragon island, can do it. Just thinking about it makes me feel strange. What kind of secret is there in Deep Air Lake that can't be hidden by experts? Along the way, Ao Fengping kept changing directions. Sometimes he even had to turn back. However, Ao Fengping never had the slightest hesitation. It was as if he knew exactly where he was going. Unknowingly, more than 10 days had passed. Although they met some dragon race members during this period of time, they were all around the 5th or 6th grade of elemental energy. Their true strength couldn't be counted as anything. They were completely relying on the draconic qi of the stacking jade legacy realm to bully others. Facing Xiaohua, they were miserable. Xiaohua didn't release Dragon Vein Xiaohua. He only let Dragon Vein Xiaohua control the draconic qi within 10 miles. He himself used both his hands and feet to become a dragon subduing Arhat. He took all the Dragon Vein Xiaohua into his space. Ao Fengping was dumbstruck. He had seen fierce people, powerful people, But when had he ever seen a Taoist cultivator who treated the dragon race like a loach? Wasn't this a little too fierce? That reverence in his heart was like a torrential river that flowed endlessly. So much so that in the end, that reverence in his heart turned into fear and unease. He even suggested in a low voice, "Taoist master. Occasionally killing a dragon race member doesn't count as anything, but Taoist master took in so many dragon race members. Aren't you afraid that the dragon island will get angry? After all, the dragon race is originally very few and the dragon race itself reproduces extremely slowly. Every dragon, especially the pure-blooded dragon race, they are all recorded in the Dragon Book of the Dragon Island. The dragon race members who entered the Stacking Jade Legacy realm this time all have great origins. You doing this? Hee, if you don't say it and I don't say it, who would know?" Xiaohua looked at Ao Fengping with a double meaning and replied with a grin. "Class, I was wrong." At this moment Ao Fengping was already regretting. He clearly knew that Xiaohua was hiding in the cave to meditate, but it definitely wasn't hiding as Xiaohua had said. As for what Xiaohua's purpose was, Ao Fengping was afraid that even if he cracked his head he still wouldn't be able to figure it out. "Since you're regretting it, then you and I can part ways here." Xiaohua smiled as he took out the jade eye and returned it to Ao Fengping, saying, "However, fellow Taoist Ao won't be able to take back those secret techniques." "Alas, it's too late." Ao Fengping raised his eyes to look at the distant mountain peak that seemed to be covered by a thick fog and said, "We've already arrived at the edge of the deep urn." Is that so?" Xiaohua's heart skipped a beat as he looked into the distance. He was somewhat bewildered. Since he had already arrived at the edge of the deep urn, then what about Ao Xing? Where did that Ao Xing who claimed to be able to find him at any time run off to? Could it be that Ao Xing didn't come to the deeper yuan at all? Just as they were talking, Ao Fengping stopped in midair and said in a low voice, "Taoist Xiao, please wait a moment." Immediately, Ao Fengping took out a fist-sized object from his bosom. This object looked like a walnut. It was black and had many wrinkles on it. Ao Fengping placed the object in his mouth and circulated his true qi. He used all his strength to blow into a groove on the object. Xiaohua's ears didn't hear anything, but he could sense that there was a strange fluctuation coming from it. After Ao Fengping finished blowing, he put away that object and quietly waited in midair. His two ears slightly flapped, and after a long while his ears trembled as if he had heard something. Then he softly said to Xiaohua, "Taoist Xiao, there's been some unforeseen events. Right now we can't directly go to the deeper yuan. Taoist Xiao, please follow me." Xiaohua disagreed and nodded. "I'll listen to Taoist Xiao's arrangements." All right, Ao Fengping didn't dare to be negligent. He descended and brought Xiaohua to a nearby valley. Xiaohua followed Ao Fengping and didn't release his true qi. At this time he turned around a large stone in the valley and his eyes lit up again. This was a bright and spacious place. The surroundings looked tall, but compared to other places, they were somewhat short fruit trees. Some lantern-like fruits hung on the fruit trees' branches. These fruits looked unripe and didn't have any special fragrance. Within these fruit trees, there were some collapsed fences and broken walls. When Xiaohua and Ao Fengping appeared, 3 human cultivators in the fruit trees raised their heads and looked at the two rather vigilantly. "This is Taoist Xiaohua, Taoist Xiao." Ao Fengping hurriedly introduced. "I presume that the 3 of you have already met in the Dragon Qi realm. When I just arrived here I was attacked by the Dragon Clan of the West Sea, and then I encountered the changes in the Forgotten Realm. After that I met Taoist Xiao. When I was recuperating, Taoist Xiao stood guard for me. Thinking that we needed manpower and that Taoist Xiao possessed remarkable abilities, I boldly invited Taoist Xiao to come with me." "Ao Fengping, you are too bold." A human cultivator coldly said, "What authority do you have to bring a stranger here?" Chapter 40-23. That's right. What did we discuss before? The other human cultivator's face was also unkind as he asked. Ao Fengping's face was somewhat embarrassed as he said, "I naturally know about the previous agreement, but, without Taoist Xiao, I wouldn't have been able to come here. Moreover, Taoist Xiao is a human cultivator. You all have seen his bloodline Dharma body. He is also a descendant of the dragon clan, so he is also qualified to participate. Shut up. The first human cultivator berated. Don't quibble about anything. You are blatantly arbitrary. You two don't need to say anything more. The other human cultivator laughed. Since Daoist Xiao has come here, he must also know about the matter of deep urn. What's the use of saying so much? Since we need manpower, Daoist Xiao's arrival will be a great help. Immediately, the human cultivator turned his head and said, I am Qingzhou's Ao Jianhong. Greetings, Daoist Xiao. Greetings, fellow Daoist Ao. Xiao Hua smiled as he cupped his hands towards Ao Jianhong and said, since these two fellow Daoists don't welcome this Xiao, and this Xiao also brought fellow Daoist Ao Fengping here as an explanation to Ao Fengping, this Xiao won't stay here any longer. This is goodbye. No. Before Ao Jianhong could speak, the two human cultivators from before shouted at the same time, since you are here, how can you come and go as you please? Ao Fengping was shocked. He was clear about Xiao Hua's strength. He was afraid of causing trouble, so he hurriedly shouted, fellow Daoists, don't be anxious. Daoist Xiao, please calm down. This old man will leave if he wants to leave and stay if he wants to stay. Xiao Hua smiled coldly and said indifferently, this old man wants to see who dares to keep this Xiao. You dare to leave. The two human cultivators flew up and blocked Xiao Hua's path. Just as they were about to draw their swords, another wave of strange fluctuations came from another direction. Ao Jianhong saw it and immediately advised, Ao Yunqing, Ao Yuzhong, don't be anxious. There are only 4 people here. Ao Fengping and I agree that Daoist Xiao should leave, but we can't make a decision now. How about we listen to fellow Daoist's opinion? Ao Jianhong hurriedly took out something similar to Ao Fengping, and said something while blowing it. Why would Xiao Hua care about this? He said indifferently, how can the likes of you decide where I come and go? As he spoke, Xiao Hua's figure floated up, and he didn't even look at Ao Yunqing and Ao Yuzhong before flying out of the gorge. Daoist Master Xiao. Ao Jianhong saw that Xiao Hua wasn't giving him any face, and his complexion slightly changed. Ao Fengping, who was at the side, also knew Xiao Hua's temperament these days. He knew that Xiao Hua was amenable to coaxing but not coercion. He hastily pulled on Ao Jianhong's scholarly robe, hinting Ao Jianhong to stop talking. Humph. Ao Yunqing and Ao Yuzhong coldly snorted at the same time, and raised their hands at the same time. 2 barricade-like confinement forces were born, and like shackles they closed in on Xiao Hua's flying figure. With one look it was clear that the 2 of them had practiced joint attack techniques. Xiao Hua coldly smiled and his figure suddenly moved strangely. He raised his right fist and with a boom, his fist hit Ao Yunqing's strength. With a crisp sound, that awe-inspiring qi was instantly collapsed by Xiao Hua's attack. Xiao Hua's fist didn't stop and it passed through space. With a pa sound it hit Ao Yunqing's body. The true qi around Ao Yunqing's body surged and his figure flew back uncontrollably. Shua. Xiao Hua didn't chase after Ao Yunqing. Instead he raised his left hand and casually chopped down. The true qi sword in his left hand suddenly split Ao Yuzhong's strength into 2 halves. Even Ao Yuzhong's scholarly robe, which was not far away, had a sword mark. Ah? Ao Yuzhong and Ao Yunqing both turned pale with fright. Your scholarly cultivation technique is not bad. If you were outside the overlapping Jadeite legacy realm, you would still have the strength to fight with this old man. Xiao Hua coldly snorted and his figure didn't stop. He indifferently flew over and said, but under this dragon qi you're using scholarly cultivation techniques again. In this old man's eyes, it's just a child's play. Hearing Xiao Hua's words, the 2 of them were ashamed and angry. They looked at each other and at the same time raised their hands to slap their foreheads. A clear sound rang out and 2 dragon qi emitted from their bodies. Soon after 2 dark dragon blood dharma bodies rushed out with bared fangs and brandished claws. Damn it! Ao Fengping didn't dare to wait any longer. Thinking that Xiao Hua had even captured a real dragon, how could Ao Yuzhong and Ao Yunqing's dragon blood dharma bodies be his opponent? They couldn't even be counted as an appetizer. Daoist Master Xiao? Why are you here? Seeing that the situation was already bad, when Ao Fengping didn't know what to do, a clear voice sounded from afar. Wasn't it Ao Moyun whom Xiaohua was familiar with? Xiaohua's figure stopped in the air. Looking at Ao Yuzhong and Ao Yunqing's ink-colored dragon blood dharma bodies, and then thinking about Ao Moyun's pitch-black dragon body in the Dragon Chi realm, he seemed to have understood something. Hehe, Mr. Moyun, we meet again. Xiaohua ignored the two dragon descendants who thought themselves infallible. He cupped his hands towards Ao Moyun and said meaningfully, "It seems that Mr. Moyun came to the overlapping Jadeite legacy realm prepared long ago." Ao Moyun also didn't have any special secrets. He said with a smile, "What the spiritual master said is right. I came to the Dragon Island to gain experience because of this deeper yuan." Saying that, Ao Moyun turned his head and berated Ao Yuzhong and Ao Yunqing. "Why aren't you too quickly withdrawing your dharma bodies? These methods are useless in front of the spiritual master. Moreover, the spiritual master is a merciful and compassionate person. He definitely won't spoil our plans." The two seemed to listen to Ao Moyun's words. They withdrew their dragon blood dharma bodies, flew to the side and stood there seemingly unconvinced. "Spiritual Master Xiao, don't lower yourself to their level," Ao Moyun said with a smile. "Presumably, the spiritual master has already seen it on the traveling dragon island. Because of this matter, too many dragon descendants have been lost. We have to be careful. This matter has nothing to do with this Xiao." Xiaohua waved his hand. "This Xiao just happened to meet Ao Fengping and sent him here. This Xiao will pretend that he didn't see anything. Goodbye." "Hehe, spiritual master, don't worry," Ao Moyun hurriedly said again. "I was saved by the spiritual master on the traveling dragon island earlier, but I never had the opportunity to repay you. Now that I see the spiritual master again, it's the heavens who gave me to the spiritual master. It's also an opportunity for me to repay the spiritual master." "What do you mean?" Xiaohua's heart moved and he asked. Ao Moyun looked around, raised his hand and said, "Spiritual master, please come with me. I'll break it down for you." "Good." Xiaohua was still at ease with Ao Moyun. He nodded and followed Ao Moyun to the broken wall between the fruit trees. "Spiritual master Xiao." Ao Moyun pointed at the fruit trees and said with a smile, "Does the spiritual master know what these fruit trees are?" "How would I know?" Xiaohua glanced at the fruit and replied. "Spiritual master can pick a few fruits to try." "Oh? Is there anything strange about it?" Xiaohua was slightly taken aback. He raised his hand and sure enough, the fruits on the fruit trees didn't move at all, as if they were cast in iron. Xiaohua was about to use more strength when Ao Moyun hurriedly stopped him. "I know that the spiritual master is strong. Spiritual master shouldn't use too much strength. This is the dragon heart fruit of the dragon domain. It's precious. However, the dragon heart fruit can't be picked from the fruit tree before it ripens. Otherwise, it will turn into water vapor and disappear." "That's strange." Xiaohua withdrew his hand and said puzzledly, "The stacked jade Forgotten Realm has been closed for so many years, and the time inside is different from the Dragon Island. This dragon heart fruit should have ripened, right? Why is it still like this?" "I don't know." Ao Moyun shook her head. "It seems that the ripening of the dragon heart fruit requires other opportunities, right? What's the use of the dragon heart fruit?" Xiaohua asked again. Ao Moyun shook her head and said, "I don't know the specific use, but it is said that the profound armor pentagonal holy dragon obtained a ripe dragon heart fruit in the stacked jade Forgotten Realm." Xiaohua didn't believe it and shook his head. "The dragon race only has one great sage of the demon race, and there are many rumors about him. Who knows which is true and which is false?" At this point, Xiaohua rolled his eyes and asked again, "Since the dragon heart fruit can't leave the fruit trees, can the fruit trees leave the land of the stacked jade Forgotten Realm?" "I don't know either." Ao Moyun smiled even more bitterly, not knowing why Xiaohua asked this. Then let me see whether it is true or not." As Xiaohua spoke, he flew in front of a dragon heart fruit tree, and a bronze brilliance appeared around his body, turning into a transcendence golden body that was several hundred feet in size. Then he raised his hand and grabbed a fruit tree. Up. Following Xiaohua's light command, a dragon heart fruit tree was easily pulled out by him. "Daoist Xiao, what are you doing?" Ao Moyun was shocked. Xiaohua ignored her and moved one after another. In a short moment he had pulled out more than half of the fruit trees, making Ao Yuzhong and the others dumbfounded. Daoist Xiao, stop. Ao Moyun hurriedly stopped him. This dragon heart fruit is an extremely important part of the stacked jade Forgotten Realm. If you continue to pull it out, I'm afraid this place will no longer exist. After the Dragon Island knows, they will definitely investigate. Hee hee. Xiao Hua withdrew his transcendence golden body and landed. He clapped his hands and said with a smile, "It seems that this fruit tree can still survive after leaving the land of the stacked jade Forgotten Realm." Daoist Xiao. Ao Moyun didn't understand Xiao Hua's actions. She didn't know whether to laugh or cry and said, "Daoist Xiao, why do you have to do this? I just want to use this dragon heart fruit to explain to you that there are countless ancient treasures in the stacked jade Forgotten Realm, and that there is an ancient golden core in the deep air abyss that can be used by Dao sect cultivators." Ancient golden core? Xiao Hua was shocked and asked, "How can there be a golden core used by Dao sect cultivators in the Longyu fragment? Besides, even if there is one here, how do you know?" Ao Moyun chuckled and said, "Daoist Xiao doesn't need to ask how I know. When I heard this news that day, the first person I thought of was Daoist Xiao. With Daoist Xiao's current cultivation, it is suitable for him to take this golden core. This golden core is simply prepared for Daoist Xiao. That day, this was just a piece of news, I can't guarantee it." Chapter 40-24. Mr. Moyun, why don't you tell me why there are golden cores used by Dao sect cultivators here? Xiao Hua asked with interest. Ao Moyun asked straightforwardly, "I wonder if Daoist Xiao has heard of the heavenly dragon language technique? I didn't know before, I only found out after coming to Dragon Island. Then does Daoist Xiao feel that this heavenly dragon language technique has anything to do with Dao sect techniques?" Ao Moyun's words hit Xiao Hua's heart. Xiao Hua's heart jumped for no reason. "I have some thoughts, but I don't have any answers." Fellow Daoist Ao Zhantian also has the same doubts in his heart. Ao Moyun explained, "However, according to his thoughts, the dragon clan is a demon clan, but they are separated from the demon clan and have a separate dragon island. Moreover, the dragon clan is closer to the human clan. It is very likely that it is related to this heavenly dragon language technique. Although the human clan's Dao sect has declined in the hidden immortal continent, it was extremely powerful in ancient times. At that time, the dragon clan and the human clan might have been one family. This heavenly dragon language technique might be a Dao sect technique itself. In that case, if Dao sect cultivators can refine pills, why can't the dragon clan do so? Even if the dragon clan can't refine pills, what's so strange about Dao sect cultivators refining pills for the dragon clan? An ancient golden core appearing in this dragon realm fragment. That's even less strange, right? Ao Moyun had obviously thought about it a long time ago. One sentence after another moved Xiao Hua's heart. Yes, since the dragon clan can use the heavenly dragon language technique, why can't they take golden cores? The origin of the golden core appearing in this dragon realm fragment must be extraordinary. The dragon realm is comparable to the immortal world. How can this golden core be an ancient golden core? Xiao Hua thought to himself. Actually, now that I think about it, this golden core might not be used by the dragon clan. Ao Moyun struck while the iron was hot again. Maybe it's a useless pill refined by the dragon clan, and it was left here because it was useless. That's why the dragon clan hasn't taken it away for so many years. Xiao Hua narrowed his eyes and thought for a moment. Finally, he sighed and said, "Mr. Moyun, it's not that I'm not greedy for this ancient golden core. The problem is that after entering the deep air abyss, I will be in a difficult position. When we entered the stacked jade legacy realm, I'm sure Mr. Moyun had already seen who I was with." "Ah." Ao Moyun was startled and hurriedly said, "Reverend, are you saying that Ao Xing has a good relationship with me? He has Dragon Island behind him. Mr. Mo Yuan has a good relationship with me too. You have the human race behind you." Xiao Hua explains, "Moreover, this Xiao really doesn't want to participate in the grudges between your Gui tribe and Dragon Island. Therefore, even if that gold core is very tempting, this Xiao also doesn't want to obtain it. Goodbye." Hiss. Hearing that Xiao Hua knew so much, Ao Moyun was dumbfounded. He sucked in a mouthful of cold air and blankly looked at Xiao Hua, cupping his hands and flying away. "Mr. Moyun." Ao Yuzhong hastily flew over and anxiously said, "How can you let Xiao Hua go? If he reveals our whereabouts, what should we do?" "There's no need to be afraid of being exposed. Moyun shook his head and said, "Our whereabouts have already been exposed. Or rather, the Dragon Island already knows the location of the deep air abyss. Quick, inform the leader, we have to enter the deep air abyss as soon as possible, buzz buzz." At this time, at the location of the deep air abyss in the distance, the entire space was shaking. The fog that originally covered the mountain range quickly filled the entire heaven and earth along with the shaking, and the blurry mountain range became clear. It didn't seem to be any different from the mountain range they had encountered before. Quick! Seeing this, Moyun hastily urged, "We are already too late. The leader has already made his move in the deep air abyss. Let's go quickly." Alright. Whether it was Yuzhong or Fengping, they didn't have time to care about Xiaohua's departure at this time. They hastily urged their figures and rushed in the direction of the deep air abyss. Xiaohua had only flown a few thousand feet away. Naturally, he also sensed the change. That cloud of fog rolled up and formed a cloud pattern that rushed past him and spread far away. Xiaohua somewhat reluctantly turned his head to look inside. "Alas, ancient gold core, I also want it. Unfortunately, one side is Xing and Dragon Island, and the other side is Moyun's Grey tribe. I don't want to help anyone. Moreover, in this Xiao's opinion, the possibility of Grey tribe's defeat is extremely high. The elders of the Dragon Palace Hall are not fools. Since they dared to let you enter the Stacked Jade Legacy Realm, they must have some means. Anyway, this Xiao has already reminded Moyun. If they insist on going their own way, then there is no other way. However, just now, I seem to have heard Moyun mention some leader. This human is really mysterious. I don't know who he is. But what does this have to do with this Xiao? This Xiao has obtained the dragon heart fruit. There are still many dragon crystals outside to pick up. When Xing comes out from the deep air abyss, there is no need to wait for him. This Xiao will go find the dragon cleansing pool and help little white dragon form its body. After that, we will wait for the Stacked Jade Legacy Realm to close." Xiaohua's little abacus was extremely good. Unfortunately, after flying for several hundred miles, an invisible barrier suddenly appeared in front of him. It was the end of the layer of fog. This barrier was very strange. Xiaohua flew to this place and actually couldn't pass through. Xiaohua tried to use the Transcendence Golden Body, the Confucian Cultivator's Flying Sword, and the Delusion Breaker Dharma Eye, but it was all to no avail. Damn it! Xiaohua didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Could it be that this Xiao needs to activate the Devil Blade? Xiaohua naturally wouldn't activate the Devil Blade for the sake of escaping. He tried a few more methods and simply gave up. Turning his head to look in the direction of the deep air abyss, he said with a bitter smile, "Looks like this deep air abyss needs to be visited. However, this Xiao will definitely not make a move. They can fight however they want. This Xiao will take advantage of the chaos to look for that ancient golden core." Thus the greedy Xiaohua finally turned back. When Xiaohua flew to the left side of the deep air abyss, he activated the dragon race's invisibility technique and quietly approached. When Xiaohua flew closer, he could see clearly. That deep air abyss was a huge ring-shaped mountain range. At a glance, he couldn't see the end of it. Perhaps it was thousands of miles in size. This ring-shaped mountain range was light black in color. The heavy rocks that stretched thousands of miles also reflected the black color. It looked very strange. What was strange was not only the mountain range, but also the ring-shaped space in the middle of the mountain range. The naked eye couldn't penetrate it. It could only be seen that there was a layer of similarly black dragon patterns in the space. The black dragon patterns were like grass in the grassland. Each dragon pattern was like a tiny dragon, and each dragon pattern was emitting a kind of condescending dragon might. When Xiaohua's gaze fell on it, he couldn't help but feel small in his heart. Looking at the black dragon patterns, he saw that there were already two groups facing each other. The ones closest to Xiaohua were Moyun and a dozen other humans and monsters. They gathered together, and in front of them were another dozen or so huge dragons. Opposite them were completely made up of dragons, and the one in front was Xing. Xiaohua's gaze fell on Xing. Xing very strangely tilted his neck and twisted his dragon head toward Xiaohua. Damn it, Xiaohua secretly cursed in his heart. This little bastard must have sensed that I came to the deep air abyss. That's why he didn't go back to look for me. I hid here and there, but I still couldn't hide. These dragons behind him should be the helpers he found using the dragon race's secret technique after he found the deep air abyss. Why is Aojan also here? He's injured, seems like he's in trouble. Behind Ao Xing there were 20 or so dragons. Their strength was about the same and some of them were even injured. Ao Zhan, whom Xiaohua was familiar with, appeared in front of him. Ao Tao. Ao Xing's voice came. Although you're from the Hui race, you've been adopted by the Western Sea Dragon Palace since you were young. The Western Sea Dragon Palace has always regarded you as a descendant, and my dragon race has never treated you differently. All the training and gifts have always been given to you every year. Why do you know that the deep air abyss has something that the dragon race has always been looking for, but why don't you say anything? Moreover, at this time you still want to go against my dragon race and ruin my dragon race's big matter? This kind of ungrateful thing, do you think you can do it? Ao Xing coldly said to the black dragon opposite him, "You're just a small elder of the dragon race, of course you don't know the situation of the Hui race. Do you really think that the Western Sea Dragon Palace really treats me as a descendant? Isn't it because you want to find the secret of my Hui race from me? Furthermore, you dared to let the Hui race and their descendants come to the Stacking Jade Legacy realm to train. Isn't it all to find this secret? Now that I've lured you here, isn't it helping your dragon race? Don't say that your dragon race belongs to my dragon race." Ao Xing said impatiently, "You and I are both from the dragon race. The dragon race belongs to both of us. If you don't even have the dragon race in your heart, then you're not afraid of being a dragon." Hee, it's not that we don't regard ourselves as a dragon race. It's that the dragon race doesn't regard us as a dragon race. If the dragon race is regarded as one of the 10 races of the dragon race, then why did you exterminate my Hui race back then? Isn't it because your dragon race, Pang Bai Luo Luo Shrine, and the other 9 Hui races were jealous of my Hui race's elites, and were afraid that my Hui race would control the dragon race, so you worked together to exterminate my Hui race? Back then you already didn't regard my Hui race as a dragon race, so why do you still have to say it today? Che. Ao Xing was really disdainful. He coldly waved his hand and said, kill them all. Break the restriction first and get the thing first." Yes. Ao Zhan and the others behind Ao Xing responded, and urged their dragon bodies to pounce forward. Ao Tao naturally didn't show any weakness. He raised his head and roared, "Sons of the Hui race, today is a great opportunity for my Hui race to rise up. As long as we kill these bastards of the dragon race and retrieve the relic of the Hui race left behind by my clan's elder, my Hui race will be able to stand tall in the 4 seas, and even build another dragon island that belongs to my Hui race in the 4 seas. For the sake of my Hui race's sacrifice, for the sake of the dragon race's hope, for the sake of my clan's elder, kill." As soon as Ao Tao's words left his mouth, the descendants of the Hui race, be it the dragon race, the human race or the monster race, were all envious. They all urged their divine abilities and pounced towards the dragon race of the dragon race on the dragon island. Roar. The battle between the giant dragons was very spectacular. Wherever the dragon claws passed, dragon blood splattered and dragon scales fluttered in all directions. The roars shook the surroundings and countless dragon chi and clouds madly surged within the radius of 1,000 miles. You're tuning in to the Dreamy Chapters YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.